A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Kroger Tender Ray Beef, no other beef so fresh, can be so tender, presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed. Ladies, just a week from today is Thanksgiving. There aren't many more days left. So if you haven't already done so, you'd better hurry into your Kroger store and place an order for your Kroger turkey. Yes, your Kroger store is where you'll find the season's finest turkeys. And if you place your order early, you'll be sure of getting one of these top-quality birds in the exact size you want. This year, be sure your family enjoys the pick of the flock. For an extra special Thanksgiving dinner, be sure a Kroger turkey is roasting in your oven 1 week from today. Man, oh man, what a treat. Kroger turkeys are plump, tender, heavy-breasted birds. They're just covered with juicy meat and chock full of fresh flavor, a flavor that will have your family sighing in contented delight. Kroger turkeys are outstandingly superior because they're raised and developed into plump turkeys in the best turkey-growing areas, because they're scientifically fed for flavor. They're expertly dressed and carefully selected by critical experts to assure absolute top quality. Finally, they're Kroger priced for better value. Yes, the Kroger price on these fine birds is so low, it will actually help save you money. So visit your Kroger store without delay. Ask your Kroger meat man to reserve a Kroger turkey for you. Place your order now and be sure of the tenderest, juiciest, best turkey you ever ate. And now, Hearts in Harmony. In the weeks since she came back to her home in Rossville, Penny Gibbs has fought a winning struggle to put the past behind her and look ahead to a new life. Her fiancé's tragic death is not forgotten, but there's a today to think about, and the thoughts of today are tomorrow. This afternoon, the doorbell rings in the Gibbs home, and it's Penny herself who opens it to see...
Joel!
Is there a patient in the house? Hello, Penny.
Oh, Joel, this is a nice surprise.
Oh, doctors get out of their hospitals once in a while. Do I have to stand out here, or do I get invited in?
I'm sorry. Come on in. Come on. You can come sit by the fire.
Well, who's going to have to move over? The cat?
No, we don't have a cat, but if we did, you'd have to share the fireplace. Come on, let me have your hat and coat.
Oh, please, now, don't hang them up. They'd fall apart from the shock of such gentle treatment. I'll just toss them on the chair here. Well, you look good. How are you feeling?
Wonderful.
Are you saying that so I won't ask you to stick out your tongue and say,
I'm saying that because it happens to be the truth.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And on second thought, around you, I'm the one who ought to be saying,
Dr. Evans, you haven't changed a bit.
What did I say to deserve the rebuff of that formal Dr. Evans?
Nothing, Joe. Come on, I was teasing you. Come on in by the fire. You look frozen.
Yeah, it's cold out. Say, what a lovely room this is.
Oh, it isn't half as nice as we'd like to have it. It's always mucked up with the children.
A house with children. That's the place for me. Oh, does that fire look good?
Yep, you'll be thawed out in no time. Oh, would you like some coffee?
Thanks, but not right now, Penny. The fire will be enough. Hey, did I say this fire looks good? Well, it feels 10 times as good as it looks. Who's the fireman around here?
Well, Freddie Lang usually builds them, but I did the best I could with this one.
The young lady has talent. That's a well-put-together fire, Miss Gibbs.
Thank you. Well, how's everything at Heatherton Hospital?
Oh, same as usual. I had a long talk with Angela Brill the other day, and it was all about you.
Oh, I was so glad to see her.
She was glad she paid you a visit. You two have really become friends, haven't you?
Oh, we have a lot in common, Joel. It was only natural for us to be friends. We understood so many of the same things.
You both took a trip in the same rocky boat, didn't you?
Yeah. You better poke the fire. It needs a little prodding, I think.
Oh, I'll put another log on it, if you'll trust me not to knock it down.
Yes, I trust you.
Good. I haven't messed around a fireplace since I left home. And how we needed that fire, too.
Oh?
On some winter nights, it was about the only place that was warm. That house of ours was coming apart at the seams, and Dad never had the money to have it tacked together again. Wow. It's hot when you stick your head in the fireplace, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That new log should burn for a century. There. Did I do all right?
You did beautifully.
Just a genius, that's all. You know, I hate to keep saying it, but this house is beautiful. How'd you ever find a place like this?
Oh, I didn't find it. My mother gave it to my brother and myself when she married Jed. When she went to live in Jed's house.
I see. And now, because of your stepfather's illness, you're all living here together.
Yeah, we are. All except Pat. That's my brother.
Oh.
He's out west traveling for his company.
Well, if I were your brother, I wouldn't travel farther than the corner grocer's. Not with a home like this.
Joe, thank you very much, but it isn't that nice.
No? Well, let me tell you, you haven't seen some of the homes I've seen.
Oh, yes, I have. I'll tell you something. I used to work in the riverfront section.
Well, all right, then you've seen them, but you've never lived in one.
No, that's true. I haven't.
Well, I have. Maybe that's why this place of yours looks so good to me. It's the kind of home Mother always dreamed of having. And Dad kept promising her she would have someday.
But, that someday never came.
No, Dad never got that big church in that big town he was always hoping for. Well, yes, he did get it. But he died 3 days before the letter came.
Oh, Joel, I'm sorry.
Oh, it wasn't too great a tragedy. The fact that he didn't live to see the letter, I mean. You see, he wanted the bigger parish only for Mother. And Mother died a year before he did.
We both lost our parents early, didn't we?
Yes, and both missed them, too, I guess.
Oh, so much has happened to me since they died, I can hardly remember them. I can hardly remember very much about my childhood, except that it was very pleasant. Life was easy. Everything was always fun.
I can't say that for mine. Maybe that's why I remember it so well. Oh, Penny, I'm not complaining. It just wasn't anyone's fault. The minister of a small congregation and a poor one is poor himself.
Yes, I know. I suppose you worked when you were a boy.
My brother and I did everything from shining shoes to being part-time office boys. And when I was 10, I had a paper route. And believe you me, Mother never had to chase me upstairs to bed at an early hour. I started on my paper route at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, golly.
Oh, I soon had to give that up in favor of an afternoon job when winter came because, well, you know, it's black that early on a winter morning, and I was afraid of the dark.
You know, I can't imagine you being afraid of anything.
Well, I was just 10 years old that winter, and the dark and beautiful women frightened me to death. Well, I've acquired courage over the years, and now only beautiful women frighten me.
Oh, they do?
Mm-hmm. And you have no idea how I love to be scared. I'm in the market for a good scare these days. You, wouldn't by any chance be in the mood to go boo, would you?
No, not today, I wouldn't. You know, I'm surprised to hear about your childhood. Somehow or other, I had no idea that your parents were rather well-to-do.
Well, they did the best they could, Penny, and that's about all. My brother and I worked all the way through grade and high schools, and my brother got a full-time job after he graduated from high school, so I could go to college and study medicine.
Is he older than you?
Yes, by 3 years. Penny, I owe him a lot, and I hope I'll be able to pay him back someday.
I think if you're a good doctor, he'll be satisfied.
Maybe, but I won't be. I want to help him someday if I can. Though he's the kind of guy who's hard to help. He does pretty well by himself. Hey, what am I talking about all this for? It can't mean anything to you.
It means a lot to me, Joe. Makes me know you better.
You want to know me better?
Well, it's nice to know your friends.
Thanks. I hope I'm always one of your friends.
Oh, Joel, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be. You know, you're the kind of friend I like, the kind of person I like. Well, I guess everybody tells you that.
Oh, you should hear what some...
Oh!
You doing anything special?
Jake, come in. There's somebody I want you to meet.
Oh, I'm sorry, child. I thought you were alone.
Well, I thought you were asleep, or I'd have brought Dr. Evans in to meet you. Jed, this is Dr. Joel Evans, Jr. Joel, this is Jed.
Well, Doctor, nice to see you. So you're the interesting Dr. Evans, are you? Pictured you as older than you look.
I'm probably not even as old as I look, Mr. Billings. Worrying about Penny has aged me 20 years.
Well, son, she's something worth worrying about.
Will you two stop it? I'll have a swirled head.
I see you're looking at this wheelchair of mine as if you think I don't belong in it, Dr. Evans.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Billings. I was just remembering that when Penny told me you were in a wheelchair, I said I'd like to have a look at you, and maybe there was something...
it's no use, son. I'm reconciled to living the rest of my life in this go-kart. And to tell you the truth, I'm getting so used to it, I don't like the thought of leaving it.
Well, Joel thinks you might be able to get rid of it, Jed.
I didn't say quite that, Penny. I said I was interested in the sort of thing that struck Mr. Billings. I didn't say there was anything I could do for him.
Yeah, well, maybe I have more faith in you, Joel, than you have in yourself.
You know anything about this sort of thing, Dr. Evans?
A little. It's a pet of mine. As a matter of fact, the reason I became a doctor is that this same thing happened to my high school sweetheart. And because her case was considered hopeless, she died.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I seem to be talking about myself in front of everybody this afternoon. I apologize. It must be the afternoon, or maybe the fire in the fireplace, or maybe it's this house and the people in it who invite a man to open his heart.
I'll answer the door.
Hiya, Jed.
Oh, good evening, Johnny. Come in.
Thanks.
Well, by the look on your face, I'd say you were here on important business, son.
Well, more or less, Jed. You alone?
Might as well be. The rest of the family's upstairs.
Good. I want your advice about something before I say anything to the others.
All right. Don't throw your coat down like that, son. Hang it up now.
You sound just like Penny or Mrs. Billy. There. Is that better?
Yeah, a lot better. Come on in the living room and let's hear what's on your mind.
Well, Jed, it's about that inquiry Frank Carter got from South Africa.
Oh, about your uncle's estate.
Yes. He called me just a little while ago.
Uh-huh.
He had a cable from the executors in Cape Town, and as the eldest member of the family, they want me to come out there.
South Africa, eh? That's a long way from here.
Well, not anymore, Jed. Not with the fast planes and ships. Well, it's not the distance that bothers me. It's handling your business. I don't think it's fair to run out on you just now.
Oh, son, you won't be running out on me. In fact, I was just beginning to think I ought to start going down to the office again myself, wheelchair and all. The office is on street level, and you need a vacation. Believe me, son, I was thinking that just this afternoon.
But, Jed, there's so much on the fire I haven't kept you up to date on. If I'm going, I have to leave almost immediately, and there's not much time to catch you up on things.
And you let me do my own catching up. This may mean a lot to you and the others in your family. You go to Cape Town, son, and let me worry my own worries for a change.
Well, there's another thing, Jed.
Penny, eh?
Yes, but I don't mean Penny's reaction. I know it doesn't matter to her whether I'm in Rossville or Cape Town or Peking or Timbuktu, wherever that is.
Oh, you shouldn't say that, son. You're as close to Penny's heart as almost any man she's ever known.
Well, maybe so, Jed. But almost isn't close enough. I wouldn't be thinking about Penny at all in connection with going away, Jed, but you see, I have a strange feeling that when I leave, I won't ever come back again.
So Johnny Keith is going to leave Rossville. Why does he feel that he'll never come back again? And what bearing does his departure have on the life of Penny Gibbs? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony. My, how time flies. Think of it. Next Thursday is Thanksgiving. And here's an important question. Have you placed your order for your Kroger Thanksgiving turkey? If you place your order now, you'll be sure of the exact size bird you want. And you'll be sure of top quality, too, because your Kroger store is featuring the season's finest turkeys, plump, tender, heavy-breasted birds, carefully selected by critical experts to assure top quality. These birds are just bursting with flavor. You see, they're raised in the best turkey-growing areas. They're scientifically fed to make them more plump, more juicy, and they're expertly dressed, clean as a whistle and ready for the oven. So visit your neighborhood Kroger store without delay and place your order for your Thanksgiving turkey. See your Kroger meat man early and get the exact size you want. And next Thursday, you'll be saying you never tasted a more tender, more delicious bird. And remember, these fine birds are Kroger priced for better value. Yes, the Kroger low price actually helps you save. So don't delay. Place your order now. This year, be sure you get a really fine turkey. Listen again tomorrow, same time, same station, for another thrilling transcribed chapter of Hearts in Harmony.
This is Nightline, your tie line to the world, and this is Walter O'Keefe. Tonight, a visit to worlds strangely different from ours, the world of the future, the world of X-1. Now, here is the future, X-1.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, the Clifford D. Simak story, Drop Dead. But first, hear this.
Have you ever asked yourself what this country's most important natural resource is? I'm Dorothy Olson, NBC Bandstand singing schoolteacher. Our most important resource? Well, you might consider it our mineral deposits, or our tremendous sources of water power, or maybe our great forests. Well, these are all very important natural resources, but there's one resource that's more important than all these combined. Our children. Don't neglect them or their educational facilities. Poor schools breed inadequate citizens for tomorrow. And another thing, keep your youngsters in tip-top shape so that they won't miss important school days. Dress them against the weather so they won't catch needless winter colds. Check their wardrobe as they go back to school this fall to be sure that they have plenty of the right kind of clothing. Remember, our children are this nation's most important natural resource. It's your job to protect their future as they go back to school this fall.
Now, X-1, and the story of an unbelievable planet. Listen to Drop Dead.
Exactly 1 hour and 20 minutes after we sent the survey ship out on its tail, the critters showed up. Ordinarily, when you make a landing on an unknown planet, it takes at least a week for any life to come creeping out of hiding and sneak a look. But there they were, the critters. They were almost cow-sized, but not as graceful as a cow. Their bodies were put together as if every blessed one of them had run full tilt into a wall. Their hides were splashed with large squares of pastel colors, the kind of color one never finds on any self-respecting animal. Violet, pink, orange, chartreuse. The overall effect was in a checkerboard, made by an old lady who did crazy quilts. Max Weber, our biologist, stood at the tail fin with me and stared.
Look at that on their heads. Those antlers.
Those are not antlers, my friend.
Well, I was afraid to say it. It looks like vegetation. As if they were trying to hide behind a skimpy thicket.
And what bothers me is the fruit and vegetables. That is, fruit and vegetables growing on their heads.
Hey, watch it. One of them's broken away from the herd and coming over this way.
Step back. Give me a clear shot in case it charges.
Look, here it comes.
What? How do you like that? It just dropped.
Ted, that animal just walked up to us and dropped dead.
We left the critter lying where it fell and started to set up camp. Carl Parsons, our ecologist, had the stove together and the supper started before the last tent peg was driven. I dug out my diet kit and mixed up my formula, and all of them kidded me about it the way they always did. It didn't bother me. Their kidding was automatic, and I had automatic answers. I know ulcers must sound silly and archaic. You ask any medic, he'll tell you they don't happen anymore. But I have a riddle stomach and a special diet kit to prove that they sometimes do. After supper, Carl Parsons, the ecologist, Max, and I dragged the critter in and had a good look at it.
Hey, look at this, Ed. This animal's got different colored blocks on it, just like a checkerboard. Look at this one.
Holes.
Yeah. Just like one of those peg sets the kids use as toys. Here, look what I found out of that. I'll poke it with my knife. There.
Looks like a bee.
Well, it is. On top of being a tomato bush and a grapevine, this critter is a walking beehive.
Why couldn't they be something simple?
Yeah, it never is.
You know, this is a screwy place.
The critters?
No, not the critters, the planet itself. Never saw one like it. It's positively naked. No trees, no flowers, nothing. Almost as if someone had said, let's make a simple planet. Let's cut out all the frills. Let's skip all the biological experiments and just work on the basics. One form of life and the grass for it to eat.
We unshipped the experimental animals, the rats, the zartills from Centauri, and the pumpkins from Polaris. The pumpkins made an unholy racket because pumpkins are always hungry. You just can't give them enough to eat. You turn them loose and they eat themselves to death. We got them all unshipped and set up under a shed in rows when Max walked up to me thoughtfully, chewing on a toothpick the way he always did.
Ed, there's something wrong.
Well, what do you mean?
There are no insects here. I wandered around, laid down in a dozen different places. Stands to reason a man should find some insects if he looked all morning. It is natural.
What about the bees?
What bees?
Well, the ones that were in the critter. Didn't you see any?
No, I didn't get close to any critter herds.
Birds?
Not a one. Oh, I was wrong about the flowers. The grass is tiny flowers.
For the bees to work on.
Very neat, isn't it?
I'm not so sure.
American tradition. Now back to X-1 and the Clifford Simac story, Drop Dead.
The bio team had the critters spread out on a canvas tarp. They were happily chopping them up in small pieces with a scalpel.
Ed, I've got news for you. No brain.
What?
No brain. We can't find one, and there's no nervous system.
That's impossible. How can a highly organized, complex animal exist without a brain or nervous system?
It's got everything else. As near as we can figure it out, there are at least a dozen different kinds of flesh. Some fish, some fowl, some good red meat, maybe even a little lizard.
Well, an all-purpose animal. We found something, finally.
If it's edible, and if it doesn't poison you, if it doesn't grow hair all over you.
Well, that's up to you, fellas. I'll get the cages down, and you can start killing off the little animals to your heart's content.
And there's only one insect, these bees. And we never see these unless we're near a critter herd. And no birds, no fish in the water. Not even a single cell paramecium.
Yeah, I was talking it over with Max.
You know, I'd give my right arm to hear a cricket or a mosquito or even a hornet.
This is the strangest thing we've... Hey, Max, what are you chewing?
Toothpick.
That's no toothpick. Spit it out, spit it out. That's grass.
I don't know. I must have just picked it automatically to chew on. It's just a habit, I guess.
Yeah. Well, go on with the report.
Well, it's a walking filet mignon. That animal is an all-purpose for sure. It lays eggs, gives milk, and has 6 different kinds of red meat. Makes honey, 2 kinds of fowl, 1 of fish, and a whole lot of others we can't identify.
Then, of course, the bacteria.
And what about the bacteria?
The critters swarm with them. And all of them the same. You know, it normally takes 100 different kinds of bacteria to make the metabolism work. But here there's only one. It must do all the work of the 100 other species do. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the brains and the nervous system you couldn't find with your knife. The bacteria doubling in brass for both systems.
The whole place balances. Nature's never static, never standing still. But here on this planet, it's standing still. Where's the competition? Where's the evolution? It's as if long ago all these life forms said, let's quit this feuding, let's get together, let's cooperate. Symbiosis.
Well, we need another critter to work on.
I'll bet you we get it.
Luckily, Max didn't take Carl's bet. Right after breakfast, the critter came in and died with a savoir-faire that was positively marvelous. We unloaded all our supplies and got ready for a long stay. We were feeding all the experimental animals on a critter now. The carnivorous ones ate the critter meat, and the vegetarians chomped on critter fruit and critter vegetables. They all grew sleek and sassy. We were sitting around after supper one night when suddenly we heard something.
Hey!
What is it?
Listen!
Thunder.
Listen.
I think... All right, quick. Everybody up into the ship.
What is it?
A herd of critters. Look, you see the dust? They're coming this way in a stampede. We swarmed up the ladder and tumbled into the port. Below us, the stampeding critters went grinding through camp. There seemed to be millions of them. They came pouring past for almost an hour. When it was all done, we came down and surveyed the damage.
Well, the animals are safe. They were under the tail fins.
Everything else is gone. Tents carried away.
Food supply is gone.
How about the emergency rations in the ship?
I had to move them down to the supply tent so they'd be handy. They're gone, dashed into the mud.
Well, even if we lifted ship immediately, it's at least 7 weeks to the nearest contact point. And no rations.
Well, gentlemen, I suggest you try on your bibs. There'll be steak for dinner.
Steak?
That's right. Steak or fowl or fish or honey, whichever you like.
You mean eat critter?
You got any other ideas?
Well, for one time. Ed, I wish I had your ulcers. You've got your diet kit in your pack, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's get a good fire going and throw on a chunk of critter.
The crew ate about a critter a day. They didn't seem to mind. Just at breakfast time, one would walk in and keel over. The crew ate like there was no tomorrow. I waited for them to break out in a rash or start turning green with purple spots or grow scales or something. But nothing happened. They felt better than they ever had. But then one morning, Max Weber turned up sick.
Well, gentlemen, I've just taken a sample of my own blood.
How do you feel?
Lousy. I'm loaded with bacteria. Critter bacteria. I've checked some of the others. They've got a lower count than I have.
Well, that figures. You got a head start.
No.
The rest of them have just been eating critter for a week. Hey, remember the day you ran out of toothpicks and took to chewing on a grass stem?
Yeah. Well, we can't stop eating critter. It's all the food we have.
Well, we might stop eating critter now. And there's my diet kit. We might make it home.
Your diet kit wouldn't last us 3 days.
I took a blood sample on the test animals. They've got a bacteria count almost as high as mine.
Well, it doesn't make any difference. We still have to eat critter. We haven't got any choice.
That night, Weber disappeared. We hunted him for 3 days. He couldn't have gone very far, but we didn't find him. We did find one queer thing, though.
Hey, over here! Down in the gully!
What is it?
That white fungus, kind of a ball. It wasn't here last week.
We couldn't find Weber. And then about 4 days later, Carl woke me up.
Ed, get up. Get up.
What's the matter?
The animals. The test animals. They're encysting. They're turning into cocoons or chrysalis or something.
What?
All of the test animals, the guinea pigs, the dogs, they're turning into white fungus balls.
Carl. The ball we found out in the field.
Weber. Max Weber. It's got to be.
We had some trouble finding the place because the land was so flat and featureless. We finally located it just as dusk was setting in.
It's split.
It looks like an egg after a chicken's been hatched. Carl?
Well, what do you think? Look inside. There are two halves of that cocoon. Look at the marks. You can see what it is now. Ed, you're the only one who had the chance. I think you should leave right now. Get back to the center and tell them. You've got your diet kit. You can make it. No wonder there are just the critters here. Take one drink of water, chew a single grass stem, take one bite of critter. Do any one of those things and you turn into one of them. Listen, Ed. You take your diet kit and notes and get out of here.
But I can't run out on you.
Forget us. We're not human anymore. You must not stay. If you do, in a day or two, a critter will come in and drop dead for you. And you'll go crazy all the way back home, wondering which one of us it was.
I walked slowly over to the ship, and I stood at the foot of the ladder, holding the notes and the diet kit against my chest. I thought of all the things we'd been through together. The crew, how they'd always kidded me about the diet kit. I thought of almost 10 years eating that awful goo, and that I could never eat like a normal human because of my ulcerated stomach. Maybe they were the lucky ones, I told myself. If a man got turned into a critter, he'd probably come out with a whole stomach and never worry about how much or what he ate. The critters never ate anything except the grass. But maybe, I thought, that grass tasted just as good to them as steak or a pumpkin pie would taste to me. So I stood there for a while and I thought about it.
Ed, what are you doing back here?
Carl, I just took that diet kit and threw it out into the waste disposal unit.
What are you talking about?
My friend, I am very hungry. What have you got for supper?
Fred Collins speaking. And I'll have another word for you about X-1 in a moment.
Hi, this is Walter O'Keefe. You know, they say there's nothing new under the sun, and maybe that's true. But there is something new under the moon, and that's Nightline. In Nightline, we think we've found the way to use the intimacy as well as the lightning-fast maneuverability of radio in an hour-and-a-half package of high-voltage, different entertainment. We found the way to make the airwaves your magic carpet to wherever big things are happening, anywhere in the country, for that matter, anywhere in the world. Now, let's say that your favorite comedian is performing at a Las Vegas nightclub. He's packing them in, and you've really got to have connections to get a table. Well, Nightline is that connection, and your radio is your ringside table. More things than you'd believe are happening in the so-called still of the night, and Nightline is your line to exciting entertainment after dark. My feeling is Nightline marks a new era in nighttime entertainment. Tune us in every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and you'll hear what I mean.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Double Indemnity by Robert Sheckley. To commit the perfect crime, all Barthold needed was centuries in which to plan it and execute it, and an insurance policy with Double Indemnity. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you Drop Dead, a story written by Clifford D. Simak and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in our cast were Lawson Zerbe as Ed, Ralph Camargo as Max Weber, and Joseph Bell as Carl Parsons. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by George Voutsas and is an NBC Radio Network production.
You'll be on the right line to exciting entertainment when you hear Nightline tonight over most of these NBC stations.
This is Nightline, your open door to people and places, and this is Walter O'Keefe. Nightline invites you to listen in on NBC's award-winning science fiction series, X-1. Now escape to a world of the future.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy's science fiction magazine, presents
X-1.
Tonight, Volpla by Wyman Gwynn. But first, hear this.
Hello, I'm Dorothy Olson, singing schoolteacher on NBC's big weekday musical show, Bandstand. But right now, I'd like to talk to you parents. I'd like to ask you a few questions as you're getting ready to send your youngsters back to school. Are you helping your child get the most out of his school? Do you make his home conditions favorable enough for him to do his homework? Do you show an interest in his schoolwork? Remember, your child's success in school and later on in life depends to a large degree on your attitude towards his schooling today. And there's another important thing. Everyone needs a good send-off in the morning, and that goes for children, too. Be sure your children have a substantial breakfast and a cheery goodbye before they head for school each day. Remember, you can't expect your child to do it all himself. Encourage him in his schooling, both in your attitude and in your actions as he goes back to school this fall.
Now, X-1 and Volpla.
Lunch, dear.
Oh, I'll be right there.
Come on, you old hermit. I have a buffet on the terrace.
I'm coming. So, I'm an old hermit, am I? And our daughter says I'm eccentric now. I wonder how the devil she ever found out.
From me, of course.
But you love me just the same.
Oh, Max, what's got into you? Stop it.
Oh, I reached the dangerous age. And, lady, I am going to have fun.
Well, come on out to the terrace. The hamburgers will get cold.
My dear, I'm going to have a new kind of fun.
Oh?
It's a joke. I'm going to play a tremendous joke on the whole world. I had been working for this moment for 10 years, and now, Volplas, 3 of them, a male and 2 females. I had called them Volplas since that day 10 years ago when I got the idea of creating a flying mutant, which I would teach to feed, play, and talk. Now I was almost ready to play my joke on the world. After lunch, when I returned to the lab, the Volplas were moving about on the mattress where I had placed them, and the male was trying to stand. They were about 28 inches high. Except for the face, chest, and belly, the Volplas were covered with a soft, almost golden down. The skin was pink. Upon his head and across his shoulders, the male had a shock of fur as soft as a chinchilla. The cranium was in the same proportion to the body as it is in the human. And they were shockingly human-eyed. When the male spread his arms, the span was 48 inches. I held his arms out and tried to tease the spars open. These spars turned backward and ran alongside the wrist almost to the elbow. Powerful wrist muscles could snap them outward and forward. Suddenly, as I teased the male Volpla, this happened. The spars shot outward, adding 9 inches to each side of a span. The lateral skin, that had until now been resting in folds, was tightened into a golden plane that stretched from the tip of the spar to his waist, a true gliding plane, perhaps even a soaring plane. By 4 o'clock that afternoon, they were ready for their first solid food. Come on now, here, hold the cup. That's the way. Hold the cup. Oh, you're a beauty. You're all beauties. No, come on. Hey, don't climb on my back. No, now stop. Oh, that's better. Oh, hello, pretty one. Hello.
Hello.
So that's the way it's going to be, eh? Hello.
Hello.
Wonderful. Oh, you have no idea what I have in store for you, my dears. I will teach you a language, perhaps English, a simple basic English. You will have your own crafts, and you live in small tree houses, and I'll teach you legends that you came from the stars, that you watch the red men and the white men, and you listen to their speech. And when you're able to take care of yourselves, I'll turn you loose. There'll be Volpla colonies up and down the coast before anyone suspects. And then, my dear, one day, somebody will see a Volpla, and the scientists will observe them. Then the legends will come. Isn't that funny? Don't you think that's terribly funny?
You're listening to Volpla.
Now back to X-1 and Act 2 of Volpla.
I used the metabolic accelerator to cut the Volpla's gestation down to 1 week, and I used it to bring the infants to maturity in 1 month. By the next spring, I had a colony of over 100 Volplas, and I shut down the accelerator. From now on, they could have their babies in their own way. I had devised a language for them, and I carefully adulterated it with English, as if they had observed us and learned. My Volplas were amazing. They were bilingual. Well, Jane and Susie went down to Santa Barbara for a week, and I took the opportunity to ship the male and the oldest 2 females out of the lab. I put them in a Jeep beside me and drove to a secluded valley about a mile back on the ranch.
Tree, rock, sky.
That's right, Chief. That's the sky. All right, come on now. Everybody out. Run, jump.
Jump, run, sky.
That's right. Take off. Go ahead. He spent about 2 hours chasing the 2 girl Volplas around, and then he made a leap for one. And when he spread his arms, his spars snapped out, and those golden planes sheared into the air.
Sky.
He sailed over her, and he rose up, and he hung in the breeze for a long moment, 3 feet above the ground.
Fly.
That's right. You can fly.
Oh, fly.
They learned quickly and brilliantly. They were not really flyers. They were gliders and soarers. Before long, they took agilely to the trees and launched themselves in beautiful glides for hundreds of feet, banking and turning and spiraling to a gentle halt. Oh, I laughed out loud with anticipation. Wait until the first pair of these is brought before a sheriff. Wait till the newspaper reporters are routed out into the hills to witness this. When they were tired, the Volplas lay on their backs with their planes stretched out. The oldest one came over to me. He squatted, his elbows resting in the ground, his wrist crossed at his chest.
Before the red men, we live here?
That's right. In places like these, you lived all along these mountains. Now there are very few of you left. Since you've been staying in my place, you've naturally forgotten the ways of living outdoors.
We learn again. We stay here?
That's right. Now look. Look, you see up in that tree? That's a bird. That's your food, if you can kill it.
How?
Well, I don't think you can get at them in the tree. You'll have to soar up above and catch one of them on the wing when they fly away. Go ahead, try. He climbed the tree and launched himself and caught a warm updraft from the hillside. In no time, he was about 200 feet away. He began working his way, crisscrossing back to us, and then suddenly he dived. He caught the bird! He caught the bird!
Bird! Bird! Bird! We eat!
Yes, you eat this. I'll show you how to build a fire. Again, I told them the story I had made up. How they came long before the red men in a ship from the stars. I taught them to point to the planet Venus and say that was the star they came from. I grinned to think of the many stories that would be written in the Sunday supplements. Oh, what a great joke I was playing on the world.
We came from a star before the red men? From a star?
Yes. The next week, I brought all the Volplas out to the Oakwood. There were 107 men, women, and children. By the end of the week, they were scattered over 4 square miles of the ranch. They hunted sparrows and cooked them over tiny fires. The little creatures delighted me more and more. For hours, I could watch them play. I could sit all afternoon and watch them at work in a tree house, quite forgetting to go home.
Well, how does the mighty hunter who now returns from the forest?
Fine. Oh, I've been enjoying the local animal life.
So is our daughter.
What do you mean?
She has 2 of them up in her room.
2 what?
I don't know. What do you call them?
I went up the stairs 3 at a time and burst into my daughter's room. There she sat in her bed, reading a book to 2 Volplas.
Hello there, King Arthur.
What's going on here?
Oh, nothing, Daddy. We're just reading like we always do.
Like always? How long has this been going on?
Oh, weeks and weeks. How long has it since that first time you came here to visit me?
Weeks and weeks.
But you're teaching them to read.
Oh, of course. They're such good pupils and so grateful. Daddy, you won't make them go away, will you?
Oh, Jane, why didn't you tell me such a thing like this was going on?
Now, you listen to me, mister. Your whole life is a secret from us. Just what makes you think your daughter can't have a little secret of her own?
Oh, fine secret. Didn't it occur to you that this might be dangerous? Those creatures are...
Oh, Max, for heaven's sake, they're sweet, lovable little creatures without a harm in their furry little bodies. Now, don't get excited.
Chief! Look, where are you?
Here, Bush.
Listen. Do you realize there are 2 Volplas in my daughter's bedroom?
Yes, they go there every day. Is there anything wrong with that?
But she's teaching them the words men put on paper.
Yes, you told us men may be enemies. We wish to learn so we can protect. I have Thing here.
Well, that's the San Francisco Chronicle.
We've been taking it for some time from box at your house.
Oh.
I have learned from the others. I can read most of this.
It was terrible. The whole wonderful joke of the Volplas would be lost. But I knew what I would have to do. I'd have to explain that my family and I had found a colony of them in our ranch and taught them English and taught them to read. I was stuck with that.
Men are dangerous. They will shoot us with guns if we leave here.
No. Now listen. When they know who you are, they'll leave you alone. Now, you must disperse all your families at once. Send them far away and spread out.
No, We cannot leave these woods. Men would shoot us.
But I'm telling you...
Perhaps you are not a good friend. Perhaps you have lied to us. Why are you saying we should leave these woods?
But it's important. The whole... I mean, you'll be safer.
We will decide.
The whole thing was critical. It could be disastrous. I went back to the house and up to Susie's room. I found her talking to 2 Volplas.
Oh, no. I'm sure you didn't come from the stars. That doesn't sound right. The more I think about it, the more I'm sure that my father made you.
Susie, what business have you telling them that? I don't want you talking to them that way. Do you hear me?
Daddy, you want to play a joke, don't you? Like the time you said I could have a horse for my birthday. You gave me that dried seahorse in the bottle instead of a real one. Were you going to make that kind of a joke?
No, now, Susie, honey, that isn't exactly it, no.
I don't think it's very funny. The Volplas are my friends. I wouldn't want to play a practical joke on them.
Chief, where are you? Chief! Oh, confound it, the fires are out, none of them around. Chief! Are you up there in that treehouse? Where are you? Where are all of you? You've got to listen to me. I made you. The joke, the whole joke is spoiled. Where are you? Chief! Volplas! Volplas! I was away from the house for hours. When I came back, I found Jane sitting on the terrace.
Are you looking for something, dear?
Oh, never mind.
I suppose they're all gone.
What do you mean?
The little flying things. I saw them fly by about 4 in the afternoon.
You did? Where did they go?
Over that way. You could see them soaring over the trees. Oh, it was so pretty.
Where's Susie?
She's been watching television. She's all excited about the rocket flights, you know.
What rocket?
Oh, you have been living in the woods. The Venus rocket. My goodness, it's been in all the newspapers. Well, where are you going?
Well, I've got to talk to Susie. Susie! Susie!
Daddy, the rocket's almost ready to go. Listen.
It approaches 0 hour now. The rocket stands tall and silvery. The gantry crane is pulled away now. We're actually at least 5 miles away, watching from the remote monitors. There's some disturbance now. It seems to be some birds. Big birds, like a flock of owls circling the ship.
Oh, Daddy, look.
Hey, wait a minute. They're flying through the hatch. It seems to be jammed open. Well, this is certainly an unforeseen development. The men on the ground are driving a motor-driven ladder up to the ship, and the owls seem to be fighting them off. Oh, there goes the hatch. It's closed. Those birds are inside. They're big birds, big as eagles. As we told you previously, ladies and gentlemen, the rocket is on automatic fire. It'll go off in precisely 10 seconds.
We stared at the television screen. We saw the red blast of fire and the silvery rocket streak up into the sky, the cameras following.
Our reporter at scientific headquarters reports that none of the rocket telemeters are recording. The owls who blundered into the open hatch in this heartbreaking accident seem to have disrupted the automatic recorders. The control circuit cannot be altered. The rocket will land on Venus as scheduled.
Daddy, those weren't owls, were they?
No, they weren't.
Owls? He thought they were owls. That's kind of a joke, isn't it? Isn't it a joke, Daddy?
I'd say, Max, dear, the joke's on you. Wait till men land on Venus and find Venusians with a legend about their great father in California.
Of course, they left me a note. The handwriting wasn't very good, but then you wouldn't write very well either if your index finger was 9 inches long. I sat on the patio and read the Volpla's farewell. It said, "The man who made us, we forgive you. We know we did not come from the stars, but we go there. I, the chief, give you welcome to visit. We will try not to laugh at you. Goodbye."
Fred Collins speaking, and I'll have a word for you about tonight's X-1 in a moment.
Say, Bert Clark, My True Story's coming our way.
Monday is the moving day.
That's good news for me. My True Story on NBC.
Well, that's good news for everybody, Dorothy Olson, for all the millions of women who've been faithful listeners to My True Story during its 15 fabulous years in radio. And for all the millions more who now have an opportunity to hear these complete stories every weekday morning in the half-hour time period just before our NBC bandstand.
And I think we ought to remind everyone, Bert, that this is the same My True Story that has been one of radio's most popular morning programs.
With a complete drama every morning about people and their problems.
Still acted by wonderful casts and adapted by Margaret Sangster from material supplied by True Story magazine.
Same time, but new stations. So take note and don't miss a single broadcast. Starting Monday, September 2nd, you'll hear My True Story at this spot on your dial, just before NBC Bandstand over most of these NBC stations.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was an NBC Radio Network production.
There's excitement in the air at night, and Nightline brings it to you. Hear Nightline with Walter O'Keefe, next on most of these NBC stations.
The stolen Euclidean submarine is still racing for Los Angeles. Hour after hour, the powerful explosions of compressed gas have driven the speedy boat on toward its goal. It is now noon, and a blazing summer sun is beating down on the waters of the Pacific Ocean. The submarine is very near the surface of the water, and in the control section, Captain Bradford, Mrs. Gregory, Jerry, and Joan are discussing a shadow on the water directly above them.
I don't like the looks of that shadow.
The shadow is harmless.
Sure, but what's making the shadow?
Looks to me like a good-sized plane, and a plane flying not any too high.
That is precisely what casts the shadow.
One of the Euclidean planes?
Undoubtedly. That is one of the planes from the island, and the pilot is very carefully keeping his shadow directly over us at all times.
Oh, then maybe that shadow can hurt us.
Now, Jerry, you've been around that magic island so long you're imagining things.
Well, what's that shadow doing there, then, if it's not for our benefit?
The shadow is probably kept over us for a definite reason. The pilot of the Euclidean plane knows that while we are conscious of his proximity, we are less likely to attempt communication with the shore.
But we'll have to communicate with the shore in a few hours now, won't we?
It is quite possible we will attempt to land without any communication to the shore.
But, Joan, we've told you that it's out of the question. You simply can't land a strange submarine, particularly one carrying as many unique weapons as this one, without getting yourself thoroughly put in jail. And they'll do it, too. I think we ought to let them know we're coming.
Well, I don't. We'd never get anything accomplished if the waterfront found out what was going on.
We are now passing Point Loma.
Point Loma? Just off San Diego?
So soon, Joan?
We are making good speed, Captain Bradford. We will reach Los Angeles Harbor in slightly more than 2 hours.
Gee whiz. Point Loma. I wish the Coast Guard over there in San Diego knew what was going on. Boy, what they wouldn't do to that plane over us. The thought makes it seem almost worthwhile to try letting them know we're out here.
Too risky, Pat. Though it would seem mighty good to know those Coast Guard boys were rolling that big plane of theirs down the ramp.
I think it would be foolish. We must proceed to Los Angeles at once.
Couldn't we go up on the surface just long enough to open the observation hatch and take a look at the shoreline? Homesick, Jerry? Well, maybe I am. A little.
What is homesick?
Don't you feel homesick for the Magic Island, Joe?
I do not know what homesick is, so I cannot tell whether I feel it or not. But I do not feel at all ill, so I presume I do not feel homesick.
Gee, that's funny. She don't even know what homesick is. I'm not sure that it's very funny, Jerry. Think of not having any place you cared enough for to be homesick. Gosh, that wouldn't be so good.
What is homesick?
Homesickness, my dear, is the lost, lonesome feeling a person gets when he's been too long away from his home and his loved ones.
Then why should I be homesick? I like very much to be here with all of you, and you have told me that my home is with you, Mother. How can I be homesick when I am going toward my home?
Well, that's a good way to figure it, Joan. But I'm afraid most of us would have a little more trouble than that trying to talk ourselves out of a spell of homesickness.
Well, it won't be long now.
we'll soon be outside harbor at Los Angeles.
And that will mean we'll soon be in great danger.
I agree with you, Pat. I think it's time we made our plans.
We are in danger now. Constant danger, and planning is useless until we are familiar with conditions at Los Angeles.
Hey,
what is it, Jerry?
I just thought of something.
Something important to this landing of ours?
I think it is.
Then let us hear it.
That Euclidean plane flying around up there.
He's not going to do anything to us.
Maybe not, but there's something mighty mysterious about that plane.
Well, in what way, Jerry?
Well, how does he get by with flying along at that altitude? He can't be more than 1,000 feet above the water. You know, plenty of people can see him from land, and they can tell that it isn't no ordinary plane. Not only that, but we've passed under 2 big squadrons of Navy planes, and they couldn't help but see him.
Well, you're right, Jerry. And surely anyone flying near that plane and seeing how it was made would be curious about it.
I think the plane has not been seen.
Boy, it must have been seen, Joan. Jerry's given you good reasons why it couldn't miss being seen.
The plane is probably invisible.
Invisible?
Now, Joan, your voice was as loud as any other in telling us that there isn't any magic on Euclidia. And an invisible plane sounds like magic to me.
Me, too.
You found the magic island invisible, didn't you?
Huh?
Well, yes, we did. That is, it was invisible to our eyes, simply because it was surrounded with that bank of artificial fog.
Exactly. And if we were on the surface, we could look up and see a large gray cloud flying steadily along over us.
That Euclidean plane is hidden in a cloud, an artificial cloud generated by the plane and thrown out around it?
Precisely.
Every time I learn one more of the things those Euclideans can do, I wonder a little more just how we're going to come out when we really mix with them.
Well, it won't be easy, Jerry.
I'll say it won't.
But even though the plane is invisible for all practical purposes, it does cast a shadow. Surely someone must have seen shadow on the water.
If it was seen from another plane, the pilot might think it was the shadow from his own. And a boat would not notice it unless the shadow passed directly over the boat. We know the shadow has not done that, for we have not passed directly under a boat.
Then, barring some unusual and unlikely accident, that plane will have no trouble following us right into the harbor.
It looks that way, Pat.
Boy, there'd sure be something doing inside that plane if another pilot took a notion to fly through there.
That would be unfortunate.
At least that, my dear.
I think we'd better stop speculating as to what might happen to somebody else if they flew into a cloud and start figuring what's liable to happen to us when we get into port.
Well, we can't figure anything until we get there, can we?
That is correct, Jerry. Planning would be useless without knowledge of local conditions at our destination.
But how are we going to land, Joan?
I have told you, Mother. We will use individual airlocks and leave the submarine anchored at the 10-fathom level.
We're going to unload from this barge 60 feet below the water level and walk into the harbor?
That is the general idea.
It don't sound any too good to me.
Well, Joan must know what she's talking about, Jerry, or she wouldn't suggest such a thing.
Well, I haven't heard enough of the story to make it sound right.
You have given me little opportunity of telling you anything.
Well, what about all the hours we just sat here and hung on while we plowed up most of the Pacific Ocean?
Well, Joan has been mighty busy all the time, Jerry. Don't forget that she's the only one who really understands this submarine. And we've been depending on her for all our navigation.
Well, I know that. But she means I talk too much.
Do you not?
Well, maybe I do.
Don't feel badly about it, Jerry. We all talk too much at times. And I agree with you that now is the time to make what decisions we can about our landing at home.
Joan is absolutely right when she says that we must leave the sub submerged, safely beyond the harbor, and safely below any possible accidental discovery from the surface.
Correct, Captain.
And as I understand it, you know exactly how to get us safely from that submarine to the surface of the water and then into the harbor?
I will see that we float safely on the surface of the water. You will be responsible for our landing in the harbor.
I knew there was a catch in this somewhere.
Now, Jerry.
Oh, sorry.
Joan, dear, do you realize that we will probably be anchored out too far to swim in comfortably? And that there's no way to arrange for anyone to meet us unless we send them a radio message.
We may have to use the radio as a last resort.
And that will let the Euclideans know exactly where we've anchored this sub.
Well, what do we care if they get the boat? Just so we get out of it first.
I'd like to be able to dry dock this boat, let our Navy men take it apart. They might learn a lot of things that the governments of the world should know.
I think we will be able to lay our plans when the time comes. For the moment, I have a far greater problem facing me.
What's that?
This submarine is no longer swaying around. The stern is perfectly stable.
I noticed that.
So did I, but I thought it was purely accidental. I like it. Is there more to it, Joan?
I believe there is. We are being held on our course.
Held on our course? From some outside source of power?
It would appear so.
But what kind of power could do that?
I fear I know the answer.
You fear you know the answer?
Yes, Mother.
but I will withhold it until I am certain.
Well, now, look here, Joan. We're not children, any of us. If you know something we will have to find out eventually, why not tell us now? Perhaps we can help you work it out.
Sure. Everything that's happened to us so far has come out all right.
I think the men are right, dear. What is it?
We are rapidly losing our forward speed.
We're slowing up?
Observe the speed as indicated on the instrument.
Well, it seems that we're only making 35 knots now, and the needle is gradually dropping off.
Precisely.
Are we running out of fuel, Joan?
Definitely no.
Then what's holding us back?
You have hit it very accurately, Jerry. We are being held back.
But that doesn't make sense, Joan. What could hold this submarine back?
Magnetism?
Magnetism. That sounds like another trick of the Euclidean.
Without doubt, it is the work of G47 and his scientists.
But how could they reach us?
Joan, look. That speed indicator has fallen off to 30 knots.
It will not fall below that speed, I think.
You seem quite certain what is taking place, Joan.
I am almost sure. One moment more, and I will know.
One moment. Is something going to happen to us?
Nothing more than is happening now. Captain Bradford, you are a navigator. Will you look at my compass?
Why, sure, Joan, but what... Oh.
Huh? What'd you see, Tex?
This compass is pointing due south, and we're running due north. Every instrument on this board is paralyzed, and every needle that is near enough the horizontal to swing free is pointing south.
The Euclideans are using magnetism on us. They're sending out magnetic beams from that island to hold us back.
I don't believe it. Even on the Magic Island, they haven't got strong enough magnetic powers for that. Oh, maybe they could pull the compass around, but they sure couldn't hold the submarine back.
Correct, Jerry. It is not being done from the island, but it is the work of the Euclideans.
From that Euclidean plane flying over us?
No, Pat. Wait a minute. I think I've got it. There's the Euclidean submarine right behind us.
Oh, no, Tex.
Yes, Mother.
Oh, but how? You must be wrong, Joan. You said this was the fastest sub on the island.
It is, but do not forget that we lay at the bottom of the ocean, practically motionless for hours.
You're right. And every time we had to dive to get away from those bombs, every time we had to submerge to keep out of trouble, there was a sub gaining on us all the time.
Gee, one of those Euclideans plowing along our course, just waiting for a chance to catch up with us.
But how could they have been so sure of our course?
That is one occasion where the very perfection of Euclidean machinery has betrayed us. Any Euclidean submarine commander would know that we would be navigating with the automatic devices, and that our course would be the regular Euclidean course to Los Angeles. He could not fail to follow us.
And now, there's one of those submarines practically on top of us.
He must be pretty close, isn't he, Joan?
Within a mile, or his magnets would not hold us back.
Well, what are our chances?
To outrun that submarine, we have no chance. But he will never shorten the distance between us.
Well, that's all right here. But when we get to Los Angeles, what then?
Yes, Joan. What then? We can't possibly get out of this submarine and escape during the few minutes it will take him to catch up with us after we stop.
Well, I don't see what we can do about it. It's up to you, Joan.
I see no more chance of escaping that submarine than you do. That is, if we attempt to stop at Los Angeles.
Attempt to stop? Joan, we must stop there.
Then that other Euclidean submarine will stop with us. And what will happen then, I am afraid to say.
The Euclidean submarine carrying Mrs. Gregory, Tex Bradford, Jerry, and Joan is within 100 miles of Los Angeles. Less than 100 miles from home, and a new danger threatens them. They are losing speed. Joan has figured out that another submarine directly behind them is holding them back with magnets. This makes the end of their journey more hopeless than the beginning, as it would certainly be too bad if the Euclideans captured Mrs. Gregory and her party so near home. Jerry and Joan, the captain, and Mrs. Gregory are in the central control section of the submarine, watching the speed indicator.
Well, I guess you're right, Joan. We can't make over 30 knots anymore.
I know I am right.
But are you sure it's another submarine that's holding us back, Joan?
Well, we're certainly being held back. I don't know what else it could be.
It is another Euclidean submarine. And as all other boats are much slower than this one, it must be well commanded.
Hey, Joan, our girlfriend.
Girlfriend?
Yeah, you know. That Euclidean girl submarine commander?
I think not.
But it might be, dear. You said she was the finest submarine commander on the Magic Islands.
Yes, and they'd send their best out on a job like this, wouldn't they?
Yes, except for the fact that the commander who befriended us may be under suspicion.
You mean suspicion of having helped us?
Exactly.
Gee, I'm sorry for her if old G47 got any idea she tried to help us a little.
Is there any way of finding out who is in command of that submarine?
Only radio communication, Mother, and it would do us no good.
No, nothing to be gained there. Unless we could find out how many of their scientists are on board.
You mean so we could have a better idea of what we're going to be up against when we get to Los Angeles?
Well, something like that, Jerry. I thought I might get an idea as to what they're most likely to do if I could find out who's on that boat.
That would make very little, if any, difference. The Euclideans are so well versed in all sciences that any of them could perform what tasks might be necessary to interfere with our landing.
And now, with that submarine so near at hand, we're not at all sure of landing.
We will land, but it will not be as simple a process as I had thought.
I don't see any chance of landing at all.
I'll bet we can figure out some way, Jerry. We haven't come over 4,000 miles in this submarine to give up that easy when we get to the end of our trip.
I don't see any hope of doing anything.
We will think of some plan before we approach the harbor.
But those men, or whoever is back there in that other submarine, aren't just sitting around idly. They're planning, too.
Naturally. But we have an advantage over them.
I can't see it.
We may plan to do as we please, and may execute our plans on the spur of the moment. Our pursuers will find it necessary to forestall our plans, and that is most difficult.
You're right there, Joan. It's always a lot easier to think when your whole job is getting away from something than when you have to figure what the other fellow's going to do and stop you.
But if that submarine behind us can follow us right into the harbor by simply hanging onto us with magnets, we haven't even room for a plan.
You must not be too sure of that, Mother.
Isn't there some way we can lose that guy back there?
Not as long as his current holds out.
I have one possible way to halt the progress of that boat. But I do not want to use it except as a last resort.
It seems to me that we're not far from a last resort.
Yeah, and if you know any way to get rid of that fella, this looks like a swell time to do it.
I do not think the emergency is great enough.
Well, you know best about this equipment, Joan. But I'd say we didn't have any great amount of time to waste.
We're nearly to Los Angeles, Joan. We'll have to act very rapidly to get away from that boat with any margin of safety.
That is true. But it might be very dangerous to lose them too quickly.
I don't see why. If you're trying to get away from somebody, the sooner the better.
What if you escaped from them early enough to afford them the opportunity of making additional plans to recapture you?
Huh?
You mean that if we succeeded in losing our pursuers now, it would only give them another chance to catch us?
Precisely.
Well, I can understand that all right. Your idea is correct, Joan, providing we can stop them at the proper time.
That is, of course, our problem.
What do you propose to do, Joan?
Use our magnetic bombs on that other submarine and hold it motionless for a period of time sufficient to allow us to escape from this boat to the surface.
Magnetic bombs?
The same kind of bombs the Euclidean plane dropped on us?
Exactly the same type of bomb.
But, Joan, do we have any of those bombs?
To be sure, Mother. I have told you this submarine is fully equipped.
Well, I certainly don't see anything that looks like a supply of bombs.
Oh, never mind, Tex. They're probably just a lot of little pills like those big dinners we've been eating.
How large are those magnetic bombs, Joan?
Approximately 1 cubic inch.
1 inch?
Gee whiz. A bomb 1 inch square will hold a submarine still in the water?
If the bomb is placed near enough to the boat, certainly.
Golly, where are those things?
I will show you when the time comes to use them.
And how will we know when that time has come, dear?
Yes, Joan, we'd better know exactly what your plan is. And if, well, we have to act quickly, we won't be in the dark as to what we're supposed to be doing.
That submarine will not gain on us. They must remain at a distance of approximately 1 mile. That will give us ample protection when we enter the harbor.
You're going to wait till we get into the harbor to turn those bombs loose?
That might be dangerous to other shipping, Joan. We don't want to excite a lot of suspicion as to our movement.
In that event, we will release our bombs at an appointed place outside the harbor. That other submarine will be held powerless at that point for a sufficient length of time to permit us to escape.
I think you're right, Joan. The longer we wait, the more chance we'll have of holding that boat powerless at the time. Our safety will depend on the fact that it is powerless.
I guess that part of it's all right. But how about the men on the other boat having a little sense of their own?
What do you mean, Jerry?
Well, those fellows back there in that other boat aren't asleep. They'll soon figure out what we're going to do.
Naturally they will.
All right, then. What's going to stop them?
Stop them? What do you refer to?
Well, they've got some of those magnetic bombs, haven't they?
Naturally.
Then why can't they hold our boat powerless? Just as easy as we can hold theirs.
I wanted to ask that same thing, Jerry, but the rest of you have left me so far behind in all these technicalities that I was ashamed to ask.
Well, you needn't be, Pat. I can't see it any better than Jerry does. Those bombs will work both ways, won't they?
To be sure. The action of the bombs is identical from either ship. But the fact that those bombs are magnetic, that their contact is strongly magnetic, is our best protection.
Well, I still don't see it.
That other submarine is now sending out a magnetic beam, which is retarding our speed and allowing them to cling to our course. That is understood?
Oh, sure, we know that.
It's the action of the bombs that puzzles us, Joan.
The action of the bombs, as bombs, has nothing to do with it. They are merely small cubes of a highly compressed substance which will form a powerful magnetic field when released in salt water. But those bombs cannot be fired through the water for any appreciable distance.
Oh, now I'm beginning to get it. They couldn't possibly shoot those bombs far enough ahead to catch us. But we could drop them on our course for the other boat to run into.
Gee, that's simple, isn't it?
Most things are very simple, Jerry, after we understand them.
That is not all. Once we release a bomb, their magnetic beam will pull it directly to them at a terrific speed, and they will be held motionless almost instantly.
Well, you're right. That beam would pull the bomb to them. And more than that, it would prevent them sending a bomb after us.
Then let's turn one of those bombs loose right now.
No, Jerry.
Why not, Joe? We're getting closer to Los Angeles all the time. I should think our best move would be lose that other submarine as soon as possible.
It would seem so, Mother, but for one thing.
Well, what's that?
The effect of the bomb would hardly last until we reach the harbor.
Oh, and that sub could take right out after us again, huh?
That's it, son, and Joan's right. The thing to do is to wait until we're nearly ready to anchor. Then release one of the bombs. And the magnetism is sure to hold the other boat powerless long enough to give us a chance to land.
Precisely, Captain Bradford.
Oh, I can understand that all right. But it seems as if we're taking the enemy dangerously near to our camp.
Well, I guess that's about the best thing to do, though, Mrs. Gregory. At least we're going to be sure where he is if we've got him pinned down the water with one of those bombs.
Yes, in the meantime, though, we'd better be making some plans to get out of our own submarine and safely onto the land.
What would you suggest, Joan?
I think the captain should take charge of that. You are all more familiar with your resources than I am.
You're right, Joan. It's up to us on this end. We sure used you enough on that island.
Well, we'll get ashore if Joan knows how to get to the surface from this thing.
I will attend to that.
Well, what can you do about landing us, Tex?
Well, I don't know yet. Joan, is there any objection to our using the radio now?
I think we could do no harm by using it, though the submarine following us will receive all messages we send.
But can we use it with that magnetic beam hanging onto us?
Transmission will be difficult.
We'll have to try it. There's no other way we can reach Johnson.
Well, what can we tell Johnson after we do reach him? You said you didn't want the story about this sub and the one following us to get nosed around yet.
I think I can do it with a code message.
Remember, Captain Bradford, that it will be dangerous to state a meeting place with Johnson. Your arrangements will undoubtedly be overheard by the other submarine and by Thales or some other Euclidean agent on the mainland.
Tex, how about one of our old courses? The airline charts we made when we were training pigeons and testing directional radio beams.
Just what I had in mind, Pat.
You mean Johnson knows those courses so well, you wouldn't have to give out any information to tell him where to meet us?
Right, Jerry.
That would be the solution to our problem.
How far out do you think we should anchor, John?
At least 5 miles.
Boy, that's a long swim.
You're not going to swim, and you know it, Jerry.
Well, I hope not. But maybe there's something I thought of the rest of you forgot all about.
What's that, son?
Well, we're going to have to toss magnetic bombs around outside the harbor to hold this other boat still, aren't we?
I know of no other way to ensure our safety.
Then it looks to me like we're going to get caught by that same magnetism when a rescue boat comes out to meet us.
Tex, Jerry's right.
That had occurred to me.
It occurred to me, too, and I think I know the answer.
What, Tex?
We'll tell Johnson to bring out a sailboat and to leave everything metallic off of it.
Is it possible to get that information to Mr. Johnson without informing the scientists in the other submarine of your plan?
We'll have to try it, Joan. We haven't many choices left.
Hey, Joan, is it all right to use the radio now?
I will make the necessary adjustments and use a narrow directional beam. If your code is difficult enough, Captain, we may have a period of comparative safety while the Euclideans decipher it, though they are masters of that art also.
Those guys didn't miss a thing, did they?
Well, this code is really so simple that it isn't a code at all, just a prearranged set of signals. I doubt if anyone could ever figure them out.
That is well.
Is the radio ready now, Joan?
The transmission beam is set on 3 meters. You may proceed.
J24Y to J12C. J24Y to J12C. J24Y to J12C.
I hope we can raise Johnson quickly.
Oh, he might be taking time out for something to eat.
I would not be too impatient about your arrangements.
Why not?
It is daylight now. We may find it advisable to cruise outside the harbor until after dark.
By George, Joan, you're right. It would be a lot more simple for Johnson to pick us up safely after dark.
But if we cruise around waiting for darkness, what is to prevent that other submarine sending radio messages to Thales and interfering with our plans?
Yeah. Say, that wouldn't be so good.
They will not be able to use their radio from the other boat and hold us with their magnetic beam at the same time. It is possible for them to receive, but not to transmit messages.
Good. We'll get out of this yet. J24Y to J12C. J24Y to J12C. Say, Joan, were we discussing our plans with this microphone open?
No, Captain. I have kept it closed except for your actual signals to Johnson.
You sure think of everything, Joan. Now, everybody keep quiet, and I'll settle down to a long session of trying to raise Johnson. J24Y to J12C. J24Y to J12C. J24...
Exploring tomorrow. And now here is your guide to these adventures of the mind, the editor of Astounding Science Fiction magazine, John Campbell, Jr.
We all believe pretty solidly that sooner or later almost any problem you name is going to be solved. So, apparently all you'd have to do is just sort of stand by, and if you could wait, it would be solved for you. I don't think that works right. There's another thing to consider.
Exploring Tomorrow is presented by the Mutual Broadcasting System in cooperation with L&M, today's most exciting cigarette. L&M smokes cleaner, tastes best. Live modern. Smoke modern L&M. The Kraft Foods Company, makers of delicious new Kraft jellies and preserves. And Cape Coral, a beautiful waterfront wonderland on the western coast of Florida. In a moment, John Campbell returns with the story of Time Heals. If you're like most couples, you want the retirement years to be as rewarding as any in your lives. Years to do all the things you put off while the children were growing up. Well, those years can be rewarding if you start saving now. And the simplest way to save is by joining the payroll savings plan. Here's how it works. First, decide how much you want to put aside each week. Then, this amount is automatically set aside from your paycheck each payday and put into United States savings bonds. Today, Series E bonds are better than ever because the interest rate is higher, 3.25%, and because the maturity is under 9 years. Now you can get more faster. So make sure your retirement years are happy ones. Join the payroll savings plan where you work today. This message is brought to you as a public service.
Animals have trouble when it's cold. Of course, they grow warm fur. Human beings have gotten around the problem of having to grow that fur and not being able to get rid of it in the hot weather by using clothes instead. Now, that solved that problem very neatly. Of course, it did bring in the different problem of having to make clothes, and having to figure out ways of raising cotton or wool. You know, when you do solve a problem, sometimes it involves setting up a complex thing to make the solution, and that may be a tougher problem than the problem you started with. Let's consider a fellow who tries walking out of time when he has a problem.
Our last night together.
Oh, I don't know, Dorothy, not necessarily. I might come out of that time field a year from now.
Or 50 years from now, when I'm old and tired and ugly, and you'll still be young. No, I think I'd rather you waited at least a century.
The traditional period in Elf Hill, I believe.
But, Jim, let's stop pretending to be so calm and gallant. There are only the two of us here. Let's just curse our luck for the vile thing it is.
There's also the champagne here. Mustn't shock the champagne. I'll open the next bottle.
Oh, but you have to be flip every minute, even now. Tomorrow you won't be Jim Hart, bright young advertising executive, wit wolf, an idol of Manhattan's more high-priced intelligentsia. Tomorrow you'll be frozen in a block of frozen time. Can't you let down the mask just for tonight?
But you see, my dear, there is no mask. This is me. I dare not admit anything else. I'll get that champagne. Oh, forgive my choice of music. Childish, perhaps, under the circumstances, but
I'm entitled to a little melodrama, am I not? After all, this is literally a life and death proposition for me. The crypt is right at the end of this corridor, Mr. Hart. Pretty far underground, aren't we, Doctor? Yes, besides being way off upstate. It's in case of, atomic bombs, rising sea level, whatever might happen. After all, this place may have to last for centuries. What's your trouble again, Mr. Hart? Inoperable cancer. My family physician said I'd be dead within a year. Unless a cure can be found. And that, of course, is what the crypt is for. Someday a cure will be found. Until then, you will lie here, snug, safe, unchanging, not even conscious of time passing in the outside world. Time heals all wounds, they say. And time is what we have the most of here. This is it. Just step up on that platform between those field coils. I'll flip a switch, and the next thing you know, you'll be in the future. Good enough. Mr. Hart, I was wondering if you have any last messages or... No, I said all my goodbyes yesterday, such as they were. I've had the sense to keep myself legally and emotionally unattached. Well, that should certainly give you an advantage over most of our patients up there in the future. Whatever the future is like. Good luck, Mr. Hart. Thanks. But we needn't be so theatrical. You may need luck more than I, Doctor. Here goes, then. Goodbye.
Exploring Tomorrow continues in just a moment.
Hello, everybody. This is Bill Stern, and I'd like to tell you about a tropical paradise where living is so easy that I intend to settle down and stay there for the rest of my life. The name of my dream city is Cape Coral, on the unspoiled western coast of Florida. Just picture 2,000 acres of high, dry pine and palm land honeycombed with 50 miles of navigable waterways just teeming with fish they write books about. Boating and fishing facilities, private country club and yacht anchorage, a planned 18-hole golf course, tennis courts, and many other luxuries. You can buy a large 80 by 125-foot home site for only $990. Only $20 down and $20 a month and live here like a king on a retirement budget, or purchase now for possible profitable resale later. The complete Cape Coral story has been compiled for you in easy-to-read literature. It's yours free of charge. A postcard's all you need. Send it to me, Bill Stern. So long for now. I'll be seeing you at Cape Coral, Florida.
To get your free literature, write Bill Stern, Cape Coral, Post Office Box 230, New York 18, New York.
It's certainly a reasonable proposition. If a man can just step outside of time and wait, sooner or later they're going to develop methods to handle the problems that are facing him at the time. They will develop cures. The advance of civilization is sure to lead to a cure of the particular problem man has. That's a simple proposition, isn't it?
All right, no. Do can do step. I reckon.
What? But it's gone. The doctor...
Do understand me?
The crypt is changed. Half empty. Crumbled plaster. Old. And those two men down by the controls, why, they look half Oriental. They're wearing kilts. The future. What year is this?
Oh, Almeric Walder. Yeah.
What year is this? What year is this?
Todd Hart. You are Todd James Hart, are you not? It so says on the record.
Yes, I'm James Hart. And you?
I am called Hallam Rostam Dougal. My kitman here, he is called Walder Rostam Chang. We both belong to the Rostam kith. Do you understand?
No, I don't.
Be calm. It are a shock, I know. Here, lean on my arm.
I never expected so suddenly. What year is it?
2837.
What? 900 years.
Yes. There were dark ages
and upheavals. And then during interplanetary era, the mechaniclastic government did not wish. But be assured, Tough Heart, we are friends.
Can you cure me?
Oh, yes. We have a quick and easy cure for your disease. A synthetic virus which attacks only cancer cells. A month or two in the hospital, and you will be well again.
Well, that's good to know. That was the whole reason for my junket after all. 900 years.
I suggest we all go up to the surface now. The clinic is nearby.
All right. Say, how do you happen to speak my language, and your friend here doesn't?
Natural wise. Language changes in 900 years. Walter asked I should come interpret until you have learned modern speech. I am a linguist at Intergift Treaty Foundation. Most especially, I have studied the Old American language.
Old American?
Good morning, Tough Heart. I am your new nurse.
Well, hello there.
Tough Heart. I didn't know that you'd already learned the present-day language.
I've had several weeks with nothing else to do. Sheer desperation drove me to study it.
You must relax to get well. You know, good sir.
Oh, sure. Sunshine, fresh air, books, music, that's it. That's all I've seen. You don't even show television programs.
It was decided by the philosophic treaty 100 years ago that the unity of the family, and hence the kiss, was impaired by external entertainment.
I've heard that sort of thing a million times. I'm sick of it. I can't even get a smoke in this dump.
Smoke?
Tobacco, nicotine. Puff, 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 puff.
Oh. A chemipotent aerosol. No, I'm afraid, sir, that the biotech machine has not prescribed it for your case.
Oh, never mind. Well, at least you're a new face around here and a remarkably, pretty one. What's your name?
I can't see that that's relevant, sir.
Of course it is.
My public name is Sarah Olaf Brona.
Well, don't be so stiff and formal. Come over here. Sit down. I won't bite. Not very hard, anyway.
You're convalescing fast, I see.
Oh, sure. I'm practically a new man. Emphasis on man. Girl like you reminds me of that acutely.
I'm afraid I don't understand. Your usage is semantically empty.
Boy. Look, darling, I want to get better acquainted, that's all. I'm lonesome.
I shall consult the psychotechnic files, and if there's anyone registered with a compatible individuality, I will ask him to come discuss with you.
Discuss with me? Well, thanks. That'll be just great.
Exploring Tomorrow continues in just a moment.
This, my friends, is the modern sound in music. Swing turned into bop, and bop turned into progressive jazz.
Like into that live modern flavor. Live modern with the big red
L&M. Best taste and smoke you'll ever find. Made from the Southland's finest cigarette tobaccos. And you get that full, rich flavor coming at you through the miracle tip. Pure white inside, pure white outside. The patented filter. The patent number on every pack guarantees a more effective filter on today's L&M. L&M smokes cleaner. Tastes best. Light into that L&M flavor. You're really living when you do.
Yes, it's a simple proposition that if you just wait around, they'll find a cure for your problem. The trouble with the proposition is that it's a little too simple. The other half of the proposition is they'll find other things, too. They'll find other problems to work on. They won't be interested in the type of problems you've been used to.
Ah, Tobe Hart. It is a pleasure to see you well again. Please honor me by accepting a seat.
Well, thanks, but you wouldn't have anything I could really sit on, would you? I mean, I can't get used to this hard, low-legged stuff you call furniture nowadays.
Oh, my apologies, sir. I imagine one does need a lifetime to become habituated to a complex of postures.
Oh, well, forget it. It's a nice place you've got, Tobe Allen.
Oh, pardon me, sir. One friendly word of advice. It is considered rude to compliment a man on his home.
That's why I've come to you, Mr. Tobe Allen. Look, you've studied the history of my own period. You may be able to help me. The rest, they're very polite, but I'm frozen out. I just don't fit in. Everything I do seems to offend somebody, somehow.
You feel yourself isolated?
Well, I made my own way. In the 20th century, I had friends. At least I knew a lot of people. I knew my way around. I was well-to-do. Here, I'm living on a pension out of the charity fund. I'm not invited anywhere because I don't know how to behave. Your conversations, your ceremonies bore me stiff anyway. It was politely explained to me that I haven't a good enough heredity for any kids to consider me as a marriage prospect. What did you take me out of the crypt for? Why did you cure me if I'm to hang around here doing nothing for the rest of my life?
Oh, please, Tobe Hart, relax. I beg you.
Well, give me something to do. Just give me something to do. I'll prove myself. I can start with some simple job, work my way up, study, learn. I'll show you what I can do if you just give me a chance. From the weather station. From the one-man crew of a weather station on the Greenland ice cap. Supply rocket once a month, and I give them all my reports. They try to make conversation. Well, what is there to talk about? All the snow I've been looking at. What the beautiful aurora up there in the night sky, the half-a-year night sky. Oh, sure. I'm sure they would discuss the aurora according to the soundest aesthetic semantics. Hey, shut up, you cracked in the skull! They're dead. It stopped. Do you hear me? How much do all the machines in this place do anyway? How much do they know? I'm one little man among 1,000 machines. How can I know what they're thinking in those steel-brained cases? All I can do is copy numbers off their dials onto a printed form. Well, why isn't there a machine to do that, too? Why am I here at all? Charity, sure, make work. Where's that bottle? At least they have the decency to leave me some bottles. Here, I know I left it. Well, why quit anyhow? Here's a snug home, ample food, books, plenty to read, plenty to drink. Man, I got a maid. There's even a pretty good tent house they take here somewhere. It's me. Only no green leaves will ever spring out of me. I'll sing it in German. Sure. Dead language. English is a dead language, too. I'm a dead language. Well, that's the way the civilization crumbles. Drink up, Dorothy. Here's to us.
Doesn't move. He doesn't move at all, does he?
Leave him in his seat, please. It isn't far to go now, is it?
No, we'll land at the foot in another half an hour. But what could be wrong with him, nurse?
Obviously some mental breakdown. Nobody seems to know just what.
I think it's called a catatonic state. I don't know. He's insane, at least. The biotech at the Greenland station asked me to bring him back since I knew him best. This sort of thing isn't understood anymore. For better than a century, we've had a well-adjusted civilization. People simply don't go insane. At least not in this rather horrible fashion.
And so no one has any idea how to treat it.
Exactly. Oh, we could try various chemicals and whatever else occurred to us. But we would be working blindly with a grave risk of damaging his brain beyond repair.
So we are putting him back in the crypt.
Yes. The next cycle of civilization. 1,000 years from now, 10,000, 100,000 years. They will know how to cure James' heart.
But will he feel any more at home with them than with us?
Less, I should think. So he may break down again. So badly that even they can't cure him at that time. Then they will have to put him back in the crypt.
God help him.
God help us all.
John Campbell returns in just a moment. Remember how Grandma used to boil jellies and preserves on the stove in the kitchen? What a wonderful aroma. But you know that wonderful aroma was really flavor boiling away. And lots of folks still boil flavor away when they're making jellies and preserves. Not Kraft. Kraft jellies and preserves are cool cooked at temperatures way below boiling to keep the flavor many others boil away. That's why Kraft jellies and preserves have that true fresh-picked flavor, a flavor you can add to your favorite foods. There are so many ways to use these fresh, delicious flavors, such as a mouth-watering strawberry coffee cake. It tells you how in the free recipe folder. Flavor magic for your favorite foods with Kraft jellies and preserves. Just write to Kraft Jellies and Preserves, Box 5310, Chicago 77, Illinois. Box 5310, Chicago 77. Do it now before you forget. And be sure to get Kraft Jellies and Preserves. Exploring Tomorrow was presented by the Mutual Broadcasting System in cooperation with L&M, today's most exciting cigarette. L&M smokes cleaner, tastes best. Live modern. Smoke modern. L&M. The Kraft Foods Company, makers of delicious new Kraft Jellies and Preserves. And Cape Coral, a beautiful waterfront wonderland on the western coast of Florida.
Yes, as time goes by, things do change, but the fundamental things apply. And the most fundamental of all, really, is you can't walk out on a problem and just let it take care of itself. By the time it gets taken care of, it's ready to take care of you, but good.
Join us each Wednesday and Friday night for a fascinating adventure in Exploring Tomorrow. Heard in our cast tonight were Lawson Zerbe, Connie Lembeck, and Sam Gray. Script was by Paul Anderson. Produced and directed by Sanford Marshall here in New York.
This is Mutual, the world's largest network.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice. But before we join Superman, listen.
And now to our story. As you remember, young Jimmy Olsen, copy boy on the Daily Planet, was sent to the Bar-O Dude Ranch to regain his health. Situated high in the hills, the rolling acres of the ranch can be reached only by way of a dirt road that winds tortuously up the mountain. It is on this road that 3 strange, mysterious accidents have taken place. Accidents that defy explanation. One after the other, on 3 successive nights, cars have rounded the horseshoe curve leading to a tunnel carved through the solid rock. And on 3 successive nights, blinding headlights have knifed out of the mouth of the tunnel, and an onrushing automobile forced each of the cars off the road to crash into bordering trees. But each time, when the driver of the wrecked car stumbled to the road, the automobile was gone, vanished as if into thin air. As our story continues today, Jimmy Olsen is calling Clark Kent long distance to report the mystery. Listen.
Operator.
I'm trying to get your party, sir. One moment, please.
Oh, gosh, I think I was calling Europe instead of Metropolis. It takes us so long.
Here's your party, sir.
Hello, Mr. Kent?
Hello, Jimmy. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, Mr. Kent. But something terrible has happened up here.
What?
I said something terrible has happened up here.
What is it?
A lot of accidents. Automobile accidents.
Great Scott, were you hurt?
I can't hear you. There's a clicking in the phone.
Are you all right? Were you hurt?
Oh, no. I wasn't in any of the accidents.
Then why are you calling long distance?
Because there's a big story behind the accident. I want you to come up here and cover it.
What's it all about?
Well, there were 2 smash-ups earlier this week and another one about an hour ago. Something funny's going on.
Now, look, Jimmy, you were sent to the Bar-O Ranch to rest, not to play detective.
I know, but these aren't just ordinary accidents. There's a ghost car.
A what?
A ghost car. They've been trying to keep it quiet, but I found out about it.
Did you say ghost car?
Yeah, it disappears after every accident. That's why I want you to... Hello? Hello? Mr. Kent, are you still there? Hello? Operator? Oh, we were cut off. Operator? Hello, operator?
Hello, operator.
Number, please.
Operator, I was talking to the Bar-O Ranch at Rocky Point. We were cut off.
I will try to connect you. One moment, please.
Okay. And hurry it up, will you, please?
What's all the excitement, Clark?
Oh, hello.
You were certainly giving that telephone hook a terrific beating.
Jimmy called me from the Dude Ranch. We were cut off.
Well, he's all right, isn't he?
Well, from what I could gather, he was excited about some strange accidents that have been happening up there. I couldn't quite understand what he was talking about.
Hello?
Oh, yes, operator.
On your call to Rocky Point, sir,
Yes.
that line is out of order.
But I was speaking with the party just a moment ago.
I'm sorry, sir, that line is out of order.
All right, thank you. That's the craziest thing.
What's the matter?
Since the line's out of order, I don't understand it.
What did Jimmy call for?
Why, to tell me about a series of automobile accidents. He wanted me to come up and cover the story.
What story?
Search me. Oh, yes, he mentioned a ghost car. At least that's what it sounded like. Well, I'm worried about him. Something may have happened. I think I'll take a run up there.
Oh, I see. Anything to get away for a few days.
Look, Lois, you know I don't need excuses to get away. Now, Jimmy's a pretty level-headed kid. He wouldn't have called me for nothing. If something's happened to him, I want to be there.
You don't have to make apologies, Mr. Kent. A couple of days at the Bar-O Ranch might be very pleasant.
But...
matter of fact, I think I'll go with you.
Well, no, it doesn't really need both of us, Lois. Actually, maybe nothing at all.
Then why waste time?
Well, it's just that Jimmy sounded strange over the phone. I don't understand what he meant by a ghost car. And I don't like the way that phone went out of order so suddenly.
I'll check the trains. I can be ready in an hour.
I'll be sensible, Lois. Mr. White wouldn't want both of us away from the office at the same time.
Fortunately, Mr. White's in Washington.
Yes, but...
you can't talk me out of it.
But I can get there faster alone.
How? By sprouting wings? Oh, no, my friend. If Jimmy's uncovered a story up there, I'm going to be in on it. I'll be ready in an hour. You better wire ahead reservations.
Rocky Point.
Thank goodness we're here at last. I've never been on such a dirty train.
You were the one who insisted on coming. Don't complain to me.
Not complaining. I just don't like dirty trains.
You better go ahead. I'll take the bag.
Okay.
Watch for steps.
I've gotten off trains before, Mr. Kent.
Port! Old port!
So this is Rocky Point, huh?
Not much of a town, is it?
Can't hear a word you're saying. Now, what did you say?
Just that it isn't much of a town.
No.
Well, now let's see what we can do about getting some transportation to the ranch.
Isn't that man wearing a cap the station agent?
Yeah, I guess so. Let's go over and talk to him.
Right.
Excuse me, can you tell me if there's a bus or taxi around?
Well, we ain't got no regular taxi, but I got car and I give folks a lift sometime. Private like.
Oh, good. Have you time to drive us now?
I reckon so. Just closing up the station.
Oh. Where's the car? I'll put the bags in.
That's it. Parked right over there.
Thank you.
Come along.
I thought you said you had to close up the station.
Well, that's only a manner of speaking, miss. There really ain't nothing to close. There you are, mister. Stow bags right in the back and hop in.
All right. All right, Lois, get in.
Okay.
Sit. Good thing don't turn over.
There we are. Well, mister, where to?
The Barrow Ranch.
What's that you said?
The Barrow Ranch.
Oh, what's the matter? Did your motor stall?
This is as far as we go, mister. Better take your bags out.
Say, what is this?
You just said you'd drive us.
Changed my mind.
Well, why?
I don't know as I got to explain, mister. I ain't a-driving the Barrow. That's all there is to it.
Look, we're in a hurry. We've got to get there tonight.
I'm sorry, lady.
Come on, Lois. Let's not argue with him. Get someone else to take us there.
Won't do no good. Ain't no one in this town will drive you there tonight.
Doc, what are we going to do?
Stop in town overnight. I'll run you up first thing in the morning.
Well, what's the difference, morning or night? Don't your headlights work?
Sure. They work fine.
Maybe he's afraid of ghosts.
What's that about ghosts?
Nothing. I was only joking.
Oh. I thought maybe you heard.
Just a second. I heard a story about a ghost car causing accidents. Is that why you won't drive us to the Barrow at night?
Oh, Clark, don't be ridiculous.
Oh.
A grown man isn't afraid of a ghost car.
Lady, that's what I thought until I saw Luke Ormsby's car piled up against a tree. Luke ain't nobody's fool. Maybe the other two were seeing things, but not Luke. Them headlights come right at him, forced him off the road and into a tree. And there weren't a single tire track where he saw the automobile. That was enough for me.
Hey, maybe he's right, Clark. Let's wait until morning.
Don't be silly. You can wait if you like, Lois. Matter of fact, that's not a bad idea. You spend the night in town, and I'll go ahead. You can join me in the morning.
Oh, no, you don't. You're not going to leave me behind. And besides, how would you get up there?
Well, I'll walk if necessary.
And you're being ridiculous. If you can walk, so can I.
Now you're being ridiculous. I told you not to come.
But I'm here, and I'm going to stay.
No use arguing with a woman, mister.
Oh. Say, look. How about renting me your car? I'll drive it myself.
No, sirree. I don't want it smashed up.
All right, then how about this? How much is your car worth?
Let's see. I reckon about $150. Maybe old, but it's in mighty fine shape.
All right, here. I'll give you $150 as a deposit. I'll drive the car myself. If it's smashed up, you keep the money. If it isn't, I'll bring the car back and you return my money. How's that?
It sounds fair enough. But it'll cost you $5 a day rental. And you pay for gas and oil.
Fine. And it's a deal?
I reckon so.
Good. Here. Here's your money. Now, come on, Lois. Get in front with me.
Right.
Now, how do we get to the Barrow?
You just follow this road straight till you come to a fork.
Uh-huh.
And then you take the dirt road to the left.
Straight ahead, then a left turn at the fork. That's easy.
Just a minute, mister.
Yes?
I warned you against driving up there at night. If you ain't listening to me, that's your business. But there's something I got to tell you.
What's that?
About half a mile from the ranch, there's a bad turn in the road. Just before you get to a tunnel. Watch that. That's the dangerous part.
Thanks, I will. Bye.
Remember the tunnel.
Driving the station agent's old car along the winding road, Kent and Lois go on to the Barrow Ranch. With less than a mile to go, the stillness of the night is broken only by the steady chugging of the ancient motor as it struggles laboriously but steadily up the mountain.
I'll be glad when we get there.
You're not worried, are you?
No, not exactly. But I can't help feeling a bit nervous in talking with that station agent.
Well, I can't help reminding you that coming along was your idea.
Clark Kent, if you mention that once more,
Oh, now, wait a minute, Lois. Wait, I'm sorry. Let's change the subject, huh?
I hope Jimmy's all right.
So do I. Well, we'll know soon.
Look, Clark, there's a sharp turn in up ahead.
Oh, yeah.
The tunnel must be just around the bend. Be careful, please.
Don't worry. I'll blow the horn to warn our ghost friend.
See, there is a tunnel. Please, look out, Clark! Look out!
It's a car coming right at us. I've got to turn off the road. Hang on, Lois. We're going to crash.
Swerving sharply to avoid a head-on collision with the onrushing car, Kent and Lois crash into the mountainside. 2 more victims of the mysterious ghost car. Was Kent able to save Lois from serious injury? Will he be able to solve the mystery? And meanwhile, what has happened to Jimmy Olsen while Kent and Lois were on their way? Be sure to listen to the next exciting episode of this strange adventure with the Superman.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice. But before we join Superman, listen.
And now to our story. A series of mysterious accidents had been plaguing automobiles bound for the Bar-O Dude Ranch. When Jimmy Olsen, who had been spending several weeks at the ranch, learned that the accidents had been caused by a strange ghost car, he called Clark Kent. Kent could scarcely credit the story, but when their telephone conversation was cut short abruptly, he decided to go to the ranch and investigate. Lois Lane insisted on accompanying Kent, and the two arrived at the mountain village of Rocky Point, only to learn that no one would drive them to the ranch after dark because of the ghost car rumor. Kent finally rented a car from the station agent, and he and Lois have started out for the ranch, with the agent's warning still ringing in their ears. Slowly, the rickety old car winds its way along the dusty road. And then, suddenly...
Clark, look out! That car!
It's coming right at us. Hang on, Lois. I've got to turn off the road. We're going to crash. Lois, are you all right?
Oh,
she's unconscious. I better get her out of the car. She's coming to. Easy, Lois. Easy now. You're all right. It's all over.
Oh, Clark, those headlights. What happened?
That car came tearing out of the tunnel right at us, and I had to run off the road to avoid a collision. You hurt?
No. Oh, I guess I'm all right. Just my head. Oh, aches.
I bumped it against the door. That's probably what knocked you out. Oh, we certainly were lucky. You might have been killed.
What about you?
Oh, I'm all right. I was braced against the steering wheel.
That driver must have been mad to race out of a tunnel that way without even blowing his horn.
I'd like to find out who he was and give him a piece of my mind.
Didn't he stop?
Guess not. I don't see his car.
Ought to have his license taken away.
Let's not worry about that now. We've got to get to the ranch and find out what this is all about.
Oh, this car won't get us there. Oh, it's a wreck.
Yeah, you're right. But we're not far away. And if you can walk, why...
Yeah. Help me up.
Sure. Wait a minute. I'll rest for a while. You were pretty badly shaken up.
Don't worry about me. What about our luggage?
I've got it. All right. Come on. Let's get back to the road.
So dark. I don't like it too much. Wish we had a light of some sort.
Yes, it would help.
Hey, wait a minute. Maybe there's one in the glove compartment of the car. Huh, that's luck. Here's a flashlight.
Oh, good.
And it works, too.
Oh, that's much better.
Yeah, let's get going. Here, hold on to my arm.
Thanks. Dirt road. My shoes will be ruined.
What? Complaining after the lucky escape you had?
I just bought these shoes, that brand...
Look at that.
What?
Right there on the road, where the flashlight beam is pointed.
I don't see anything.
Well, that's just it. There should be tire tracks.
You mean tracks of the car that nearly crashed into it?
Yes. And there aren't any.
Well, that's impossible. A car couldn't possibly drive on a dirt road like this without leaving tracks.
Sure, but where are they?
The clock, I saw a car. I know it. The headlights nearly blinded me.
I know. I saw it, too. And yet, no tracks.
Clock. That station agent warned us. He said the tunnel was dangerous, and we had an accident, and there are no tracks. Clark, it was the ghost car.
Oh, Lois, get hold of yourself. This is no time to fold up. Even a child doesn't believe in ghosts.
What happened to that car? Clark, I don't like this.
Come on, let's get to the ranch.
The sooner we get there, the better.
It can't be more than a few miles. Come on.
Trudging up the dusty road, Lois and Kent head for the Bar-O Ranch, the electric flash cutting a slim pencil of light ahead of them. Meanwhile, at the ranch house, Jimmy Olsen is arguing with Steve Graham, the owner, and Nelson Blaine, manager of the Bar-O.
Mr. Graham, you've got to do it.
Listen, son, no one's going to drive you into town at this hour of the night.
What's the rush, Jimmy? You can make your phone call in the morning. Maybe your line will be fixed by then.
I can't wait until morning, Mr. Blaine. I've got to speak to Mr. Kent.
Why is it so important that you speak to him?
I can't tell anyone but Mr. Kent.
Don't bother arguing with him, Blaine. I said no one's going to drive him to town tonight, and that's all there is to it.
If you won't drive me, then I'll walk. That's what I'll do.
No, you won't. You're going to stay right here.
You can't stop me. I'm going right now.
You don't.
Let go of me. Let go. You can't keep me here.
Mr. Graham, be careful.
No.
You might hurt him.
I don't care. This brat isn't going to town.
Maybe it'd be better if I did drive.
Oh, no. Stop squirming. You're not leaving this room.
Let me go. Let go. I won't stay here. You can't make me.
Who's that?
I'll see.
Mr. Kent.
Oh, Jimmy.
Oh, Miss Lane. Gosh, I'm glad to see you.
Hello, Jimmy.
Oh, what's wrong, Jim? I heard you shouting, let me go.
Well, perhaps I can explain.
Who are you?
I'm manager of the Bar-O. My name's Blaine. And this is Mr. Graham, the owner. Now, you see...
I'll handle this, Blaine. I'm sorry, Mr. Kent. I just lost my head. I've been under kind of a strain lately, and... Well, I'm sorry. I was restraining the boy.
Did he hurt you, Jimmy?
No, I'm all right.
What's this all about?
I wanted to go into town to call Mr. Kent, and he wouldn't let me. Phone's out of order up here.
Why did you refuse his request, Graham?
Well, I told Jimmy the phone would be working in the morning. There was no sense taking a long drive at night.
He didn't want me to tell you about the ghost car. That's the reason.
Ridiculous. There's no such thing as a ghost car.
I'm not so sure about that, Mr. Graham.
Well, what do you mean?
We've met your ghost car.
What? Oh, you're just joking.
Unfortunately, Miss Lane is not joking. We met the ghost car when we were driving up here.
Driving? I didn't hear your car pull in.
It was wrecked at the tunnel by a car that disappeared.
That's the way the other accidents happen, Mr. Kent.
I'm licked. I just can't fight this any longer. It's hopeless.
Fight what, Graham?
Started here at the ranch. A man fell off his horse when a stirrup broke.
Oh, accidents like that always happen at ranches.
No, that's what I thought. And there was a mysterious slide, and that society girl was injured. 2 days later, the porch steps collapsed, and a young couple were hurt. And came this ghost car. Well, that's too much.
When did all this bad luck begin, Graham?
About 3 weeks ago. It's been driving me frantic. Most of my my guests have left, and I'm not getting any new ones.
There must be a reason for all these strange things, particularly the ghost car.
I don't care anymore, miss. Well, I thought I could keep everything quiet until the mystery was cleared up, but it's no use.
You're giving up too easily, Mr. Graham.
I'm not a young man anymore, Blaine. I can't take it the way I used to. The ranch is jinxed. I'm going to get rid of it if I have to give it away.
Gosh, I'm sorry, Mr. Graham. I didn't know you were in all this trouble. But you don't have to worry now. Mr. Kent's here. He'll straighten everything out.
No, son, it's too late. Blaine, I'm going to take that real estate broker's office. Get in touch with him in the morning and tell him to come up here.
Oh, someone offered to buy the ranch?
Yes, a local real estate agent's been after me, and I think I'm going to take him up. I'm through with the Bar-O.
Well, it's none of my business if you want to sell your ranch. But I'm still going to find out what's back of that ghost car.
After all, I have a personal interest in this. Miss Lane might have been killed.
Oh, how about you, Clark? Are you immune to automobile crashes?
Why, no, of course not.
Whoever is responsible ought to be behind bars.
Just give us time, Graham, and we'll put him there.
Mr. Kent will find him, Mr. Graham, if anyone can.
You people sound so sincere, I almost believe you would go out of your way to help me. But I can't wait. I'm washed up.
Don't you think I'd better see about sleeping quarters for Miss Lane and Mr. Kent now?
Yes. Mr. Kent can bunk in the boys' cabin, and Miss Lane can have number 7.
All right, I'll take care of it right away.
We'll have to get started on this the first thing in the morning.
Oh, phone's working again.
Hello?
Graham, this is Sheriff King.
Oh, hello, Sheriff. Anything new?
Yeah, another accident in the tunnel.
I know. The people are here with us.
Listen, Graham, I'm closing the road until this is cleared up.
Well, you can't do that, Sheriff.
I'm sorry, but I've got to. 3 accidents in 2 days are too much. I'm closing the road.
Oh, wait a second. Sheriff's going to close the road to traffic, yeah?
Here, let me talk to him. Hello, Sheriff. This is Clark Kent of the Daily Planet.
Did you say Clark Kent?
Uh-huh.
Why? You're the man that worked on that spy case I read about.
That's right.
Nice job, Mr. Kent. What can I do for you?
Don't close that road yet.
Why not?
Well, we'll never find the ghost car if you do.
Why won't we?
Well, we've got to catch him in action.
Oh. I see what you mean. But there have been too many accidents.
Well, just give me a couple of days to work on it. Just keep the road open for a few days. That's all I ask.
All right. I don't know. It's taking a big chance.
Well, just 3 days, that's all.
All right. I shouldn't do this. The same as you, Mr. Kent. I'll risk it. Remember, 3 days.
Thanks, Sheriff. Thanks a lot.
Okay, I'll be up to see you in the morning.
All right, goodbye.
Bye.
He'll keep the road open for 3 days.
3 days?
Uh-huh.
We have quite a job ahead of us.
Yes, and you and Jimmy need some rest. How about bed?
Well, I have some accounts to go over, Miss Lane. Do you mind if I don't show you the cabin? Right next to Jimmy.
I know where it is.
That's all right, Mr. Graham.
Good night, Mr. Graham.
Good night.
Right along this path. Right over there.
Clark, how did that ghost car disappear? And what happened to the tire track?
Well, we'll try to find that out tomorrow, Lois. Right now, you need sleep.
I guess you're right. I am tired after that long hike.
Well, here's your cabin, Miss Lane.
Thanks.
Good night.
Good night, Lois.
Good night, Jimmy. Night.
All right, Jimmy, let's go to our place now.
It's right next door. Here we are. Let me turn on the light.
Okay.
Yeah, isn't it swell?
Perfect. Yeah, you better hit the hay, Jimmy. We have a day ahead of us.
Help!
What?
Help!
What's that? Lois crying for help. Something's happened. Come on, Jimmy, quick.
What new terror has struck the Barrow Ranch? Clark Kent and Jimmy Olsen are rushing to help Lois, whose terrified cries have broken the stillness of the night. Will they be in time? Don't miss the next exciting episode of The Mystery of the Ghost Car. Tune in and follow the story with Superman.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Stand by to raise ship. Blast off. -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0!
As roaring rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Arriving in the small Venusian settlement of Goldtown for a quiet holiday, Space Cadets Tom Corbett, Roger Manning, and Astro found themselves battling a gang of killers who were trying to hijack the entire supply of gold from the neighboring mine. Despite the menace of giant robots, the boys managed to board one of the armed freighters, and in the fight that followed, the gang was beaten. But they escaped with half of their loot in 2 remaining ships, another freighter and the space yacht. Fearing they would escape into space, the cadets followed them in the captive freighter still laden with gold. And now, far above Venus, they try to find some trace of the enemy ships.
Control deck to radar bridge. Check in.
Radar bridge, aye. What do you want, Tom?
Haven't you picked up those ships on the radar yet, Roger?
Look, Tom, I'm good, but I'm not a genius. I just got up here. Give me a chance.
Okay, Hotshot. Don't fuse your tubes. They shouldn't be too far away. We blasted off only 15 minutes after they did.
You just hold your rockets, Junior. As soon as I spot them, I'll let you know. End transmission.
Hi, Tom. How we doing? Haven't picked up the trail yet, Astro. How's the power department?
Oh, very good for a freighter. There's a power booster gimmick for blast-offs that's new to me.
Hey, another special gimmick. This is some ship.
What do you mean?
The space radio they've got.
A radio? Hey, have you contacted the Solar Guard?
Well, that's just it. We can't.
You mean it isn't working?
Well, not exactly. Here, the receiver's set for Venusport. Now, listen.
But that's just hash.
Uh-huh. The set scrambles a regular broadcast into what you heard. And Roger says it's the same way in reverse with the transmitter. When we call the guard, all they hear is a faint normal static, not even annoying enough to check on.
Oh, I get it. On the same kind of receiver, the message would be in the clear, huh?
Right.
Automatic scrambler and descrambler circuits. First I've ever seen.
Quite a system, Astro? That gang never had to worry about their messages being intercepted.
Cold-blooded killers, and yet they have things like this. To say nothing of the robots. They're going to be tough to lick.
Radar bridge control deck. Check in.
Control deck, aye. Find them, Roger?
I've got news for you. I've scanned the whole area in front of us and on each side. There are no ships anywhere.
What?
Those killers have disappeared from space.
Oh, great. Don't tell me they have another gimmick. Something that makes them invisible.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by. Spaceman, how would you like to have pictures of all your favorite Space Cadets? Well, just listen. Right now at your grocery store, you'll find a picture cutout of one of your favorite Space Cadets on the back of every regular-sized package of Kellogg's Pep. Just think, besides getting the best-tasting cereal you ever put a spoon to, you get a picture cutout on the back of the package. Say, that's really something. You can get a full-length cutout of Roger Manning, Astro, Tom Corbett, and Dr. Joan Dale. And when you cut each picture out, you can mount them on a stand and put them in a Space Cadet setting. Draw a picture of the Polaris, and then show Astro climbing up to the power deck. You can show Roger on the radar bridge and Tom Corbett on the control deck. Each cadet picture shows an official Space Academy uniform, too, even a spacesuit. It's a swell collection, and it's yours with a swell-tasting cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Ask Mom to get Kellogg's Pep at the grocery store. Then have Pep for breakfast every morning. While you're scooping up that swell whole wheat and malt flavor, you can be looking at the Space Cadet on the back of the package. Then, when the box is empty, you're all ready to cut out the picture and set it up. So don't delay. Start your Space Cadet collection right away. Get a package of the build-up wheat cereal, Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep. Rocketing through space far above Venus in the captured freighter, Tom, Roger, and Astro are confident that they can track down the criminals who brought death and destruction to Gold Town. Until suddenly, Roger reports from the radar bridge that the killers have disappeared from space.
That's impossible, Roger. Ships can't just disappear.
If you don't believe me, Junior, suppose you get on this radar and check up yourself.
Well, all right. Don't overheat your tubes. I know you've been riding that scanner, but it's fantastic.
Well, they could just be further ahead than we figured, Tom. We're packing all that gold, and there's a lot of inertia to overcome.
No, Astro. Their freighter has about the same load. The space yacht could go much faster, but...
You guys, if they went twice as fast, they still wouldn't be out of range so quick.
Then, with all the scientific gadgets this gang has, maybe I was right.
That they really can disappear? I doubt that, Astro. We've missed a point somehow.
I didn't. There are no ships within radar range.
Wait a minute. Sure there are. Only radar can't spot them.
What are you talking about?
Well, there must be some ships flying over Venus right now on regular flights. But with the whole planet behind them, they wouldn't show up on our screen.
Naturally not, Junior, but we're talking about ships in space.
Are we? Suppose they double back to Venus.
But why, when they just escaped from there?
Because it's the last place anyone would look for them. We didn't, but we'd better start now. Astro, get below and give me power on the steering vanes. We've got to turn this crate around fast.
Right. Ready in a minute.
You know, Roger, that gang must have a hideaway. Probably. They've nearly reached it by now.
Yeah, but to cover all of Venus is a big order, Tom.
Well, maybe we can pick up something on this radio receiver of theirs.
Go on. They wouldn't be stupid enough to use radios.
They might. No ordinary set can intercept those scrambled transmissions. And they don't know that we're after them in one of their own ships.
By the rings of Saturn, maybe you're right.
Come on down here and start sweeping the radio band, Roger, and let's hope we get a break.
Well, Tom, getting anything?
Not yet, Astro. Roger's been sweeping the whole band, and he's rigged up some instruments to get a fix on any signal. Hey, wait a minute. I think I'm picking up something now.
Order to open the entrance in 30 seconds.
Hey, listen, quiet, Astro.
Take the freighter in first. We will follow. And transmission.
That's it. We nearly missed it. I'll say. Sounds like they're ready to duck into their hideout. Did you get a fix, Roger?
Not a real one. Impossible without triangulation. All I can show you is the general area on this map of Venus. Let's see now. It's about in this direction. Maybe 50 miles either way. And the distance, well, that could be anywhere from here to, say, here.
Great Jupiter, we'll have to cover about 5,000 square miles.
Best I can do, Junior. And it's right in the middle of the worst jungle on Venus.
Well, at least we know the area. Maybe we can spot their installation. It doesn't look too hopeful, but we have to try. Full space speed, fellas. Let's take a shot at it.
How many square inches are there in 5,000 square miles of jungle, Tom?
Too many, Roger.
There sure are when you have to look over every one of them, even from up here. But you ought to feel at home, Astro. Ah, stow it, Hotshot. To listen to you, anybody'd think there was nothing on Venus but jungle. If I didn't think so before, I sure do now. Space dust. I'm sick of this, too. Tom, we've covered the whole area without spotting any camouflage for their hideout. We're on the wrong track.
Not if the installation is underground, because then nature furnishes the camouflage.
Underground? Here?
Why not?
If they're underground, we can't possibly spot them. We might as well pick up our marbles and go home.
No, we can't leave.
Do you realize that the gold towners must have contacted the Solar Guard by now? The guard's probably headed out into space right now for nothing.
Yeah, I know.
Well, let's get out of here and call them back.
Roger, if we leave, the killers will probably pop out and really get away this time.
Why should they give up their cozy little nest?
Don't you suppose they've spotted us prowling around here? They won't figure we're just admiring the scenery.
Tom's right. They're probably just waiting for us to beat it so they can make a break.
But we can't stay here forever. Our fuel won't hold out. I've been thinking about that, too. If we could only get them to come out while we're still here.
Fat chance. Well, there's only one thing left. You work your great brain while Astro and I work over the radio. Yeah, we can try to change those scrambling circuits so we can call the guard.
Think you can get it done in time?
No, but at least we'll be doing something.
Well, go ahead. No, don't touch it.
Watch it, Astro. The boy's gone space happy.
The radio, that's it. That's the way to get those snakes out of their hole.
What do you mean, Tom?
Look, we know we can't contact the Solar Guard on this trick set, but the gangsters don't know we know it. You follow me?
Yeah, what about it?
Well, if I pretend I'm trying to call the guard and slip in some information to interest the killers, they'll hear it and come out with a ship.
How do you know they'll hear it?
I don't, but I imagine they're listening.
And what's this information that's so interesting?
Just listen. Turn on the set, Roger. Solar Guard headquarters from Space Cadet Tom Corbett. Come in, please. Solar Guard from Cadet Corbett. Acknowledge. We still can't hear your answer, but assume you can hear us. I request emergency priority on the following message. We have located the Gold Town criminals in Venus Sector 92 Southwest and are patrolling the area. Please send help immediately. Repeat, immediately. Our position is dangerous. We have a full cargo of gold aboard, and all gun controls are jammed. Come at once. End transmission. Well, that does it, fellas. I hope.
Hey, what was that about our gun controls being jammed?
That was the clincher, Astro. If those yellow space rats think we're helpless, they should walk into our trap.
And we're the bait, huh?
Right.
But sometimes a trap doesn't go off. And then the bait gets eaten.
Roger, take a look through this viewport. What's the matter? Something mighty funny. Way over there, a whole section of jungle is sinking. The underground entrance. It worked. They're coming out. There's a ship blasting off. Hey, it's the space yacht. Good. I hoped it would be. Yeah, that yacht can run circles around this tug. But we have more firepower, and they think we don't have any. Don't worry, Roger. Who's worried? Great Galaxy. The freighter's coming out, too. Uh-oh, now I am worried. I didn't think they'd use the ship with the gold. Looks as if they've managed to unload it somehow. It's making good time. We've still got our cargo. That means even the freighter can outrun and outmaneuver us, Tom. Yes, I'd better change our course. Look as if we're making a run for it, so they don't suspect our guns are really working. I'd better get below and start nursing the rockets. Okay, Astro. One thing we'll need is plenty of power. You'll get it, Tom. The yacht's drawing way ahead of the freighter now. Well, that won't do. We'll have to get them together. But if we could pick off the yacht first, then the freighter would know our guns are working. I want it to come as a little surprise to both of them.
Okay, Tom. Power deck ready.
Right, Astro. Full space speed.
Aye, full space speed.
Now we'll climb. She's pretty sluggish. Hey, Tom. The yacht fired a warhead when they saw us move. We're still out of range, though. We won't be for long. Are they climbing after us? Sure, and their rate of climb is faster. Power deck.
Power deck, aye.
Stand by steering rockets, Astro. 2 turns to port, as sharp as this ship can make.
Well, then we'll be heading back where we came from.
That's the idea. Get ready. The yacht's coming on range now, catching up fast. And now's the time. Okay, Astro. Short blast for first turn.
Coming up.
This is like turning a barge. There. All right, Astro, again.
Okay. Coming up.
Come on, baby, get around. Roger, where's the yacht? A little above and behind us. Pretty close. Fine, and the freighter? That was her getting into the act. We better get on the starboard gun. I'll take them. You take the port side. The yacht will be there in any second. But don't fire yet. Wow, that one rocked us. What are you waiting for, Tom? See the whites of their eyes? Almost. I'm cutting right between them. We can fire from both sides. Great idea if they don't get us first. Coming up. You ready? Sure. Hey, the yacht's starting to dive. Okay, open fire. Blast it, missed. I nailed the freighter astern. She's down to our speed now. Tom, look, they're sending robots after us. A robot shouldn't be able to hurt a ship this size. Don't bother with them unless they fly straight into a gun. Okay. The yacht's coming back and the freighter's turning. They're going to try and finish us. They've got us bracketed. Astro, give me a blast.
Okay. Hey, Tom, the robot.
What in space was that? Astro, the rockets have stopped. What happened?
I had to shut them off. The gang sent a robot square into the rocket tube. Jammed it there. If I held power, we'd blow up.
Great Galaxy, without power, we can't maneuver. We can't even stay in the air. They'll clobber us. Keep firing, Roger. Okay. Astro, come up and help him. We'll have to take the ship in for a crash landing. Roger. Astro, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm okay, Tom.
Me too, I guess. Pretty good landing, Tom. I was lucky to find a clear spot in this jungle, except that they'll be able to spot us here. They have. They're following us down. Oh, blast it. Look at our guns. They're wrecked. We can't fire back.
Well, there's nothing left to fire anyway, Tom.
What?
We're out of ammunition.
Oh, but a couple of warheads. All right. We'll have to get out and hide in the jungle. The ship's sealed over on the main hatch, so we'll use the emergency. Come on, hurry up.
But, Tom, the jungle's hopeless. We'll die there, even if the killers don't come after us.
It's better than this. Go on, Tom. Open the hatch, will you? I can't. It's jammed.
Oh, great. And there's no other way out.
What about the rocket tube?
That's blocked by the robot. Those space crawlers really have us now. We're trapped.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by. Stand by, all spacemen. Stand by, all spacemen. Here's a special teleceiver message for all spacemen from Tom Corbett, Space Cadet.
Hi there. A lot of you spacemen have been writing in asking for pictures. Pictures of Dr. Dale, Astro, Roger, and myself. Well, the Kellogg people heard about all this, so just listen to what they did. They put pictures of all of us right on different packages of Kellogg's Pep. And not only that, but the pictures are put on so you can cut them out and stand them up. But these swell picture cutouts are only part of it. The whole Pep package is new. As a matter of fact, all the Kellogg's cereals are dressed up in bright new packages. No fooling. Every single one of them. Wait till you see the big lineup of all your Kellogg favorites at your grocery store. The best tasting cereals. The best looking packages. And every one of them Kellogg's.
That's right, Spaceman. It's K-Day at the grocery store. All the Kellogg cereals have new faces, new pictures, new exciting packages. Why, people are even singing about it.
Did you see what I saw? Kellogg's on display in brand new boxes, bright and gay. These famous cereals come your way. Go see this eyeful. The Kellogg's All-Star Breakfast Show has a cheerful look, a lift for you. Starts you off with a hoop-de-doo. Kellogg's for breakfast and a happy, happy day. Get a big supply today.
Yes, for a happy day, have a happy breakfast with the best tasting cereal ever, Kellogg's. Trapped in the battered wreckage of their ship after crash landing in the Venusian jungle, Tom, Roger, and Astro are unable to return their enemy's fire. With every exit sealed by the crash, they face certain death as warheads burst all around and the killers come roaring down out of the sky.
This is a great way for us to wind up like rats in a trap.
We're not finished yet, Roger.
Well,
there's no way out, Tom. Those dirty space crawlers are going to blow us to space dust. Maybe not. Come on, this way. Run.
Where are we headed for?
For the cargo section, where the gold is stored.
What good is that? There's no hatch there.
I know. Here. Go on in. Fast.
Okay, here we are. So what?
Look, through this viewport. The Alpha Freighter have almost reached the ground. How could they miss if they really wanted to blow up the ship?
Maybe they're just playing games.
No, they want to kill us, all right. But not by blowing everything sky high, including the gold. They figure blasts and fragments from the warheads will do it.
Well, they're right.
But here, with the gold, we have a chance. The bags of dust will protect us for a while.
What's the difference? We're still trapped.
But maybe we won't be. The same gold that helps us must be tearing the ship apart.
Tearing the... What are you talking about?
Well, look how all that weight has shifted. It's bearing down on a bulkhead that's already been weakened by the crash. And now with those warheads blasting all around us, something has to give.
The whole place. Yeah, you're right, Tom. They're buckling. And they've sprung a seam over here. It's only an inch, but... Brother, that was a bad one.
No, a good one. The seam's wide open. There's our exit. And on the side, away from the gang. They'll never see it through all the smoke and dust.
Okay, let's go. Even that jungle looks good to me now.
Go ahead. Hurry. I'll be with you as fast as I can.
Huh? You're not staying here, are you?
Yeah. There's something else to do.
But, Tom, the killers are landing.
Don't argue. Get it going.
Okay, it's your war. Come on, Astro. I'll join you soon.
I hope.
Why doesn't Tom come? How long have we been waiting here? I don't know, Astro. 5 minutes, 10. Seems like hours. Even the freighter's landed now. And neither ship is even bothering to fire anymore. Well, why should they? They're sure we're dead. But they're sending the robots in first, just in case. Roger, maybe Tom really is dead? Yeah, hurt anyway. With those big torches, the robots are cutting through the hull like butter. He'll be inside the ship in a second. Tom won't have a chance. We have to go after it. We won't have a chance either, but... Oh, let's go. Wait, Roger! Astro!
Tom, you're all right.
We thought you were
I'll
killed.
explain later. Hit the dirt fast. What's the matter? They spot you? No. Lie flat and dig yourself in as much as you can.
But what for?
No time to explain. The robots are in the ship now.
What difference does it make?
Hey, what was that?
They can't be firing.
Get your heads down.
Great Jupiter. What happened, Tom?
Take a look.
The ship we were in. It's blown up. Robots and men scattered like toys. Tom, what in the universe did you do?
Tell you later. First, let's make sure those space crawlers are licked. Once and for all.
Well, this is one bunch of killers that won't do any killing anymore. Most of them won't even wake up until they're in a prison hospital.
And some won't ever wake up. Yes, the ones who were too anxious to get at the gold they'd murdered for.
Speaking of gold, Tom,
I've heard of men rich enough to throw a little around. But I bet you're the first who ever scattered a whole shipload.
Will you tell us now what you did? Oh, it was simple enough. I just rigged up I guess you'd call it an atomic booby trap.
Booby trap?
Uh-huh. I dismantled the last 2 warheads, fixed them so the robots would set them off when they got to the power deck. That was the first explosion, and it triggered the reactor pile. I pulled out the dampers before I left.
So the whole pile went.
Mm-hmm. Wow, you sure did a job, Tom.
Good, Junior. Couldn't have done better myself.
Yo, why, you couldn't even do half. Forget it, Astro. Come on, let's see if one of those ships can still get off the ground.
I hope so. I'd sure like to get out of here.
Yep. Get this finished up, and then back to Gold Town. You think your uncle will still take us on that fishing trip?
Sure. Just wait till you tie into those Venusian mutation salmon.
Sounds like real sport.
Hey, you're not kidding.
Are those salmon?
Then, Jupiter, how can you two think about anything as dull as fishing at a time like this?
Dull? Why, Roger, there's nothing in the universe more exciting than having a fighting fish at the end of your line. Right, Astro?
Sure. That's one time you really know you're in a scrap.
With a fish, huh? Well, that kind of talk after all this excitement certainly proves what I always said. You guys are crazier than a Martian platypus with 2-headed fleas.
Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, on Tuesday, when the crew of the Polaris returns from Venus, only to find themselves threatened with death as they try to solve the riddle of Astro. Tune in, same time, same station on Tuesday for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal. Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in today's cast were Jan Merlin and Al Markham. Today's program was written by Don Hughes, directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Begg speaking.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
And what a secret. In Kellogg's Raisin Bran, the tasty raisins are dipped in honeycomb. That means plumper, more tender raisins, along with delicious golden crisp bran flakes. Both fruit and cereal, all in one box. And no other Raisin Bran but Kellogg's gives you the tender goodness of raisins dipped in honeycomb. That's Kellogg's secret. So for your breakfast, make sure you get Kellogg's, because
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
this program came to you from New York. America is sold on ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. You are in the suffocating depths of a jungle, listening to the words of your companions, while the native people, seemingly friendly and quiet, are awaiting the moment to strike, which, when they do, will mean a fate from which there is no escape.
So listen now as Escape brings you Somerset Maugham's exciting story, The Outstation.
The new assistant, Alan Cooper, arrived in the afternoon. Mr. Warburton, the resident of the government control station, went down to the river landing stage to meet him. The guard, 8 little Borneo Dayak soldiers, stood to attention as he passed, and he noted with satisfaction that their bearing was martial, their uniforms neat and clean, and their guns shining. Mr. Warburton was a rather small and precise man. He wore a topee, spotless shirt and ducks, and white shoes, and held under his arm a gold-headed Malacca cane which had been given to him by the Sultan of Perak. As the prahu appeared round the bend in the river, he felt a slight misgiving, caused no doubt by the arrival of another white man. He was accustomed to loneliness and his own way of life. Still, he smiled affably as the boat landed and held out his hand.
How do you do? Mr. Cooper, I presume?
That's right. Were you expecting anyone else?
My name is Warburton. I'll show you to your quarters. The boys will bring your kit along.
Feels good to walk again. I was cramped to the devil from that little scow.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, by the way, I brought your mail. Lots of newspapers in it. Can't be worth much, I shouldn't imagine. They must be at least 6 months old.
Old news is very fresh to me here, Mr. Cooper. It's the only news I get from London.
Those my digs over there?
Those are your quarters, Mr. Cooper. I've had it made as habitable as I could, but of course, no one has lived in it for a good many years.
It'll do me all right.
I hope so. I dare say you'll want to have a bath and a change. I should be very pleased if you'll dine with me tonight. Will 8 o'clock suit you?
Any old time will do for me.
Yes, one of my boys is inside. He'll take care of you until you get your own boy.
Right.
Mr. Warburton left the new man in his house and returned to his own residence. The impression which Alan Cooper had given him was not very favorable. Cooper seemed to be about 30. He was fairly tall and rather heavy in build, and was dressed in khaki shorts and shirt, but they were shabby and soiled, and his battered topee hadn't been cleaned for weeks. These things Mr. Warburton noticed, but then, being a fair man, he reflected,
well, after all, he has spent the last 48 hours coming upriver in the prahu. We'll see what he looks like when he comes in to dinner.
A little later, Mr. Warburton went down to the bathhouse and soothed himself with cold water, and after that he carefully dressed. And he dressed as he did every night. Boiled shirt, high collar, silk socks, and patent leather shoes. The only concession he made to the climate was to wear a white dinner jacket. Then Mr. Warburton went into the sitting room to await his guest.
Tuan Cooper. Oh, you're all dressed up. I didn't know you were going to do that. I very nearly put on a sarong.
Oh, it doesn't matter at all. I dare say your boys hadn't finished unpacking.
You needn't have bothered to dress on my account, you know.
I didn't, Mr. Cooper. I always dress for dinner.
Even when you're alone?
Especially when I'm alone.
Well.
Mr. Warburton saw a twinkle of amusement in Cooper's eyes, and he flushed an angry red. He resented the man's attitude, and he resented the same dirty khaki shorts and shirt, augmented by a ragged jacket. Still, he knew that he was going to have to get on with the fellow, and as they sat at dinner, he amplified his theories on dinner dress.
When I lived in London, Mr. Cooper, I moved in circles in which it was as much an eccentricity not to dress for dinner every night as not to have a bath every morning. When I came to Borneo, I saw no reason to discontinue so good a habit.
What? All the way you look at it, I suppose. But if you expect me to put on fancy dress in this heat, I'm afraid you'll be disappointed. Fine champagne you got here. You do yourself like this every day?
I haven't noticed that the dinner is any different from usual. Oh, by the way, while you were in Kuala Selor, did you meet a lad called Henley? He's come out recently, I believe.
Henley? Oh, yes, in the police, I remember. Nasty little swine.
Oh, I should hardly have expected him to be that. His uncle is my friend, Lord Barraclough. I had a letter some time ago from him asking me to look out for Henley.
Ah, I heard he was related to somebody or other. Pass the chutney, will you? That's how he got the job, then. He's been to Eton and Oxford, and he doesn't let you forget it.
All his family have been to those schools for generations. I should have expected him to take it as a matter of course.
I found him a bloody bore and a snob.
To what school did you go, Mr. Cooper?
I was born in Barbados and educated there, too.
Oh, I see.
That's right. And in the war, I didn't get a commission either because I didn't have influence and I hadn't gone to public school. Things are changing, Mr. Warburton. In England, things are changing. The old school tie's going down the drain. Perhaps you haven't heard. Things are changing, Mr. Warburton.
Mr. Warburton was a snob. He'd endured financial ruin in England and found a haven for his memories in Borneo. And now he was faced with a reminder of the outside world, a common world that he rather despised. The breach between the two men was not long in coming. It started a week after Cooper had arrived.
I say, Cooper.
What's up?
I've talked to my head boy about finding you servants, and he recommends his nephew as head boy for you. He's waiting outside. Would you like to see him?
I don't mind.
Abbas. Tuan, this is Tuan Cooper. Abbas, you will work for him.
Tuan Cooper, it is my honor.
You'll have to look sharp with me, Millette. No stealing, mind your P's and Q's, and we'll get along, right?
Will he do?
I dare say he's no more of a scoundrel than any of the rest of them. Come along, Abbas, you're hired. Take care of finding a cook and the others.
Tuan?
You're lucky to get a boy like that. He belongs to a very good family.
Doesn't matter a blast to me if he's got blue blood in his veins or not, just so long as he brings me a drink when I want it.
You have a lot to learn about the Malay natives, Mr. Cooper. You do well to study and understand them.
I was born in Barbados and I was in Africa during the war. To me, a native's a native. And don't worry, I can handle them.
We were talking of Malays.
Well, what's the odds?
You're very ignorant, Mr. Cooper.
There was another day, not long after that. The two men had been up the river. They were on their way back in the process. Cooper was becoming increasingly aware of Warburton's disapproval, and because he was a colonial and had lived little in England, had a peculiar dislike of the English. He resented especially the public school boys, since he feared to be patronized, and he felt that offensiveness was the best defense against it.
Well, at any rate, the war's done one good thing. It smashed up the power of the aristocracy. This war really put the lid on it.
It's a pity. An era of greatness. Lost era.
Bloody good job, too, in my opinion.
My poor Cooper, what can you know of the glory that was Greece and the grandeur that was Rome?
That's a lot of rot. I don't give a row of pins for a lord. I tell you, what's wrong with England is snobbishness. And if there's anything gets my goat, it's a snob. Particularly a snob who's gone broke and still likes sticking his weight about. Lots of them like that out here in Malaya. Have you noticed, Warburton?
Warburton knew that Cooper was referring to him. A man's life in open history in the colonial service, and Cooper must have heard about his failure before he'd come upriver. The resident's hands trembled, and from that moment on, he saw to it that they lived apart, and except for work, spoke little to each other. It was not until Cooper had been on the station for a couple of months that an incident happened which turned Mr. Warburton's dislike into bitter hatred. It was as small, as a petty thing, but it was the beginning of the end. An ending that was to mean a terrible and a lonely death.
We will return to Escape in just a moment, but first, last year the smoke of great forest fires blotted out the sun over vast regions. Such tragedy of human loss and property loss must not be repeated in 1953. By working together, we can eliminate 9 forest fires out of 10. And now, back to Escape.
Mr. Warburton was obliged to go up country on a tour of inspection, and he left the station in Cooper's charge. In spite of the tension which existed between them, he knew that the assistant was a capable man, although he had no sympathy for the natives. He was hard and a bully, and the Malays disliked and feared him. Anyway, Mr. Warburton was gone for 3 weeks, and when he returned, Cooper came to his house to make a report. The resident was in his sitting room, and the head boy stood quietly at his side. Mr. Warburton was white with anger.
My boy tells me that you were the one who opened my newspapers, Cooper.
Newspapers? Oh, well, while you were gone, the mail came, and I wanted to read about the Wolverhampton murder, so I borrowed your Times. I knew you wouldn't mind.
But I do mind. I mind very much.
Sorry, I couldn't wait until you came back.
I wonder you didn't open my mail as well.
That's not the same thing. There's nothing private in a newspaper.
I very much object to anyone reading my paper before me. I think it's extremely impertinent of you. They're all mixed up. I read them every morning at breakfast in the order of their issue.
We can easily put them in order. Only take a sec.
Don't touch them.
Look here. Aren't you being a bit childish making such a fuss about a little thing like that?
How dare you speak to me like that?
Don't! Down the blazes!
Tuan? Yes? Oh. What is it?
While you have been away, there has been trouble.
Oh?
Tuan Cooper's servants. They have left him all but my nephew Abbas, and he too wishes to go. He says it is not a good house and wants to do as the others have done.
No. He must stay with Tuan Cooper. The Tuan must have servants, have those who went replaced.
No, Tuan. No one will go.
Then find the boys who ran away and tell them that I expect them to be back in Tuan Cooper's house at dawn tomorrow.
They say they will not go, Tuan.
On my order?
I will find them, Tuan.
The next morning in the office, the two men met again. There was no word of the newspaper incident, and after Cooper had given his complete report, Warburton dismissed him.
I don't think there's anything else, thank you.
Right.
Oh, Cooper. I understand you've been having trouble with your boys.
No trouble. They had the cheek to run off, probably trying to blackmail me for more money. But they've all come back to heel again.
What do you mean by that?
This morning they were all back on their jobs. I suppose they decided I wasn't as big a fool as they thought.
By no means. They came back on my express order.
I should be obliged if you wouldn't interfere with my private concerns.
They are not your private concerns. When your servants run away, it makes you ridiculous. You are perfectly free to make a fool of yourself, but I cannot allow you to be made a fool of. That'll do. You may go.
May I? Now, shall I tell you what I did? As soon as I saw them back, I called the old bloody lot in and gave them the sack. I gave them 10 minutes to get out of the compound.
I think you behaved very foolishly. Good masters make good servants.
Anything else you want to teach me?
I should like to teach you manners, but I haven't the time. I shall have to see that you get new servants.
Don't trouble. I'll get them myself.
Allow me to say, Cooper, that no one will come except at my order. Would you like me to give it?
No!
As you like. Good morning.
That's the way the matter stood. Only Abbas remained with Cooper, and he opposing his master with sullen resistance, not doing more than he chose. The days, the weeks went on, and the heat became terrible. Mr. Warburton from time to time heard vague complaints from the natives concerning Cooper's harsh treatment, but when he looked into what he thought were specific cases, all he could say was that Cooper had shown severity where mildness would not have been misplaced. He had done nothing for which he could be taken to task, and Mr. Warburton found himself waiting for an opportunity to do that. One day it came. A half a dozen civil prisoners were engaged in repairing a road on the station until their sentence was up. Their hours of labor were from 7 in the morning until 4. Mr. Warburton was taking a stroll at dusk, and he saw the prisoners still at work. He called the warder over.
Why are these men still at work? It's past 6 o'clock, warder.
I know, Tuan, but it was Tuan Cooper who gave the order.
When did he do that?
Yesterday, Tuan. They are now to work until 7.
That is contrary to regulations.
Tuan Cooper gave the order, Tuan.
Mr. Cooper is under my orders, Warder. The prisoners are to finish their work at 4 o'clock and are then to be returned to the jail. There will be no more work for them after that time. Do you understand?
And the next afternoon, Cooper was astounded to see the prisoners strolling back to the jail. It was 5 o'clock. He learned of the resident's new instructions from the warder, and with a terrible fury strode quickly to Mr. Warburton's house.
Slam the door, Mr. Cooper.
I want to know what the devil you mean by countermanding my order that the prisoners were to work until dusk.
Are you out of your mind? You can't be so ignorant that you don't know how to address your official superior.
That's a lot of muck. You've no right to interfere. The prisoners are my job. I want to know why the devil you did it. Everyone in the place will know, and you made a bloody fool of me.
You had no power to give the order you did. I haven't made half the fool of you as you have yourself.
I know your kind. You disliked me from the minute I got here. You've tried to make the job impossible for me because I wouldn't lick your boots for you. Because I wouldn't flatter you.
You're wrong, Cooper. I thought you were a cad, but I was perfectly satisfied with the way you did your work.
A cad, eh? Fine old English word. Cad. Well, I'd rather be that than a snob. You're a ruddy little snob. Anyone who hasn't been to Eton or Oxford is a cad. Down in Kuala-Lumpur, they laugh at you. You're a laughing stock of the whole country with your fine ways and your silly rot talk of Lord this and Lady that. They told me all about you. And I tell you this, I'd rather be the cad you think I am than the dirty snob I know you are.
If you don't get out of my house this minute, I'm going to knock you down.
Go on. I'd like to see you hit me. I'd like it. You want me to say it again? Snob. Snob. Rotten little snob. Don't be a fool. I'm not a gentleman. I know how to use my hands. I could knock you through the wall if I wanted. But you're smaller than me. And it wouldn't be sporting. Besides, you get your pretty white suit all wrinkled.
It was a few days later when Warburton's head boy came to him and spoke of his nephew,
Abbas. Is Tuan Cooper leaving, Tuan?
No, he's staying.
There will be a misfortune.
What do you mean by that?
Tuan Cooper is not behaving rightly with Abbas. He holds back his wages so that he may not run away. He has paid him nothing for 2 months. I tell Abbas to be patient, but he is angry. He will not listen to me. If the Tuan continues to use him ill, there will be a misfortune.
You did the right thing to tell me this. I shall attend to it.
Did you wish to see me?
I understand that you have held back Abbas's wages. I consider that a most arbitrary proceeding. The lad wishes to leave you, and I don't blame him. I must insist that you pay him what is due.
No. Well, I don't choose that he should leave me. I'm holding back his wages as a pledge of his good behavior.
It is my duty to warn you that if you drive this boy beyond a certain point, you run a great risk.
What do you think he'll do?
I think he'll kill you.
You think I'm afraid of a Malay native?
It's a matter of complete indifference to me whether you are or not. I only feel the official obligation to give you proper warning.
I'll tell you this. That Abbas is a dirty, thieving rascal. And if he tries any monkey tricks on me, I'll wring his bloody neck.
That was all I wished to say to you. Good evening.
Cooper flushed and walked from the room. Mr. Warburton watched him go with an icy smile on his lips. He had done his duty. That he might have been surprised had he seen what happened when Cooper got back to his bungalow, so silent and cheerless.
Filthy snob. Filthy, dirty snob.
When Cooper regained control, he got very drunk. It was his only means now of salvaging his self-respect, and with the whiskey he managed to finally lose it all. It came about as he searched for the clean shirt in his chest of drawers.
Where's that bloody... Alice! Alice, come in here!
You told me, Tuan?
I told you. Where's my clean shirt?
They're being washed, Tuan.
You're a liar. My clean one's here yesterday.
No, Tuan. They're being washed.
You sneaking little pig. You've been stealing them. Haven't you? Haven't you?
No, Tuan. I do not steal.
Liar! Get out! Get out! I'm sick of you. The whole stinking lot of you. Get out! Out! If I catch you stealing again, you're going to jail, you hear me?
Tuan, I will not come back. Give me my wages.
Blast you! And blast your wages! I'm keeping your wages for the money you stole. Now get out of my sight!
When Cooper sobered later that evening, he knew he had gone too far with the native boy. He was worried, and he felt ill. He saw the lights of Mr. Warburton's house across the clearing, and for a moment he considered going over to tell him what he had done. But he knew with what icy scorn the resident would listen to his story. He could see the patronizing smile. So he didn't go. On his veranda, Mr. Warburton was strangely restless. Of course, he had heard what had happened, and it had been his immediate impulse to send for Cooper. But each time he had tried to reason with the man he had been insulted was no business of his anymore. And if anything happened, it was not his fault. But when the resident's boy came out to fill his whiskey glass, Warburton asked,
"Where is Abbas? Do you know where he went?"
No, Tuan. I think maybe he has gone to the village of his mother's brother.
After a time, Warburton sighed and went into his house. He read late into the night and at last slept. The night was very sultry and still. It was a little before dawn when a slim young figure moved across the clearing. It was the boy, Abbas, and in his hand he carried a crease.
You, Tuan?
When Warburton was called to the bungalow by his boy the next morning, Cooper was lying in bed with his mouth open and the crease sticking in his heart.
"Where is Abbas?"
Abbas is at the village of his mother's brother.
He will be arrested there, then.
Tuan, Abbas, my nephew, was in the village all night. It can be proved. His uncle, everyone will swear that he did not leave the place.
Tuan Cooper was killed by Abbas. You know it as well as I do. Justice must be done.
Tuan, he was not. Hang him.
The provocation was very great. Abbas will be sentenced to a term of imprisonment. When he has served part of his sentence, I will take him into my house as a boy. You can train him in his duties. I have no doubt that under Tuan Cooper he has got into bad habits.
Shall Abbas give himself up before the police are sent, Tuan?
It would be wise of him. The boy withdrew. Then Mr. Warburton stood a moment looking at the cold body of his assistant, Cooper. Suddenly he felt a glow of exultation. A great burden had been lifted from his shoulders. He thought of the freshness of the morning outside and the newspaper which would be waiting unopened on his breakfast table. Abbas would make a good houseboy.
Escape has brought you Somerset Maugham's The Outstation. Direction and adaptation of the story were by Anthony Ellis, starring Ben Wright as the narrator, Alistair Duncan as Warburton, and Richard Peel as Cooper. Featured in the cast were Dave Young and Terry Kilburn. The special music for Escape was composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Next week.
You are in an open boat with 3 desperate men, 200 yards from land and safety. But while you scream frantically for someone to rescue you, you realize that from the mountainous breakers between you and safety, there is no escape.
So listen next week when Escape brings you Stephen Crane's unusual story, The Open Boat. By all odds, the Wizard of Oz should be an odds-on favorite at your house every Monday through Friday in the daytime on most of these same CBS radio stations. Be sure to hear Walter O'Keefe in The Wizard of Oz, a colorful quiz show that makes winners out of people just like you. Next session tomorrow in the daytime at the Star's address. This is Roy Rowan speaking. And remember, you are invited to Art Linkletter's house party every weekday on the CBS Radio Network.
Nestle's Ever-Ready, the instant cocoa. Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk. And Nestle's chocolate bars now present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy have landed on a distant planet to help 500 enslaved workers escape from a mine. Happy waits in the grounded ship while Buzz walks toward the robot-guarded mine shaft.
Cadet Happy to Commander Corey.
Go ahead, Happy.
I just picked up something in the viewscope screen. It's one of those robot cargo jobs. It's heading this way.
Happy, those ships never land anywhere in Gobonic except the city's spaceport.
This one's sure barreling in, sir. If it keeps its present trajectory, it'll land right in the mining area.
Land?
set to crash.
Crash?
Mr. Ruger's work. We can't stop that ship. It'll explode and destroy every living person in this area.
We'll return in just a moment with the thrilling story of Frightened Robots.
Space Patrollers, this is Commander Corey. Let me ask you something. When Mom and Dad had their breakfast coffee this morning, did you have a good hot drink? You know, you need a real morning warm-up for all-day power. That's why you should always start the day the Space Patrol way, with a big cup of Nestle's Instant Cocoa. It's just loaded with good hot nourishment for real energy. And Nestle's makes the greatest hot cocoa you've ever tasted. It's rich, it's smooth, it's delicious. It's really out of this universe. And wait till you see how fast and easy it is to fix. And Nestle's Ever Ready is so easy it just about makes itself. Now listen, here's all you do. You just put 1, 2, 3 teaspoons of Nestle's in your cup and add hot water. That's all. Now you're all ready to drink it and get your supply of morning pep. And Nestle's Ever Ready is the complete cocoa, too. You add nothing but water because whole milk and sugar are already in it. You ought to see the lineup around here when they sound the Nestle's call. Everybody goes for that delicious Nestle's chocolate flavor. That goes for me, too. Now, why don't you get the Nestle's Space Patrol habit? Ask Mom to stock your galley with Nestle's and drink it regularly, the way we do. And you'll have power to spare. That's Nestle's Ever Ready Cocoa in the bright red can.
And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, The Frightened Robots. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy are in the Terra 5, high above the surface of the planet Gobonic, a world ruled by robots. They've just blasted off from a forest region where they said goodbye to Mono and Anila, 2 friends whom the Space Patrollers rescued from enemies in the principal city of the planet. While Buzz is at the controls, Happy idly adjusts the Space Patrol periscope, the amazing hyperspace optical device that can show a close-up view of any part of space.
You see anything interesting, Happy?
There's a train of cars, sir. Probably headed for one of the farming areas outside the city.
Gobonic is a depressing planet. Still, I hate to leave it.
I found a Mono and his friends, you mean?
Yeah. Gobonic won't be free until the robots are overthrown. That might take years.
Sure wish we could do something to help them.
Well, it's not our job to meddle into other people's internal affairs, huh? What we've done was just to save Mono's life. We acted as individuals, not as agents of the United Planets.
Hey, I thought those trains left the city empty.
That's what Mona told us. They brought back full of supplies, and half of it sent to Warmont.
Oh, these cars are open, sir. They're like we'd haul ore in, but well, some of them are full of people.
Oh, farm workers, probably.
They're just jammed into those cars. Oh, it's poor people.
I know how you feel, huh? That's something we have no control over. Our job is to explore Warmont for radioactive minerals. Better cut off that periscope before you feel worse than you do now.
Yes, sir. Hey, we've got to give this to Mono when we let him out of the ship.
Oh, look now, his robot control unit.
Uh-huh. It might come in handy if Mono or any of his friends have to return to the city.
Well, perhaps it's just as well Mono doesn't have it. If he's caught with one of the administrator's robot controls, hate to think what would happen to him.
Agent 7 at Gobonic City calling ARL Camp 21.
Commander, it's one of our space
Turn up the volume.
Agent 7 at Gobonic City calling ARL Camp 21. Come in, please.
ARL Camp, that's an anti-robot league hideout.
ARL Camp 21 here. Go ahead, Agent 7.
That's Mono. Hey, they're operating already. They've distributed our miniature spacephones inside the city.
Warn all the League members not to try to enter the city. Don't even contact us by spacephone. The robots are rounding us up.
We've been betrayed.
No, I don't think so. The roundup isn't very selective. But this morning, 500 workers from all sections were picked out and put aboard a work train. They're on their way to the K-Light mines.
K-Light mines? How did you find out?
Robots broadcast it all over the city. Obviously, it's a disciplinary action.
Of course. K-Light is useless. K-Light dust is harmful to human beings.
When 500 workers are diverted from essential production and sent to the K-Light mines, there's only one explanation.
It's a warning to everybody to stop trying to overthrow the robot.
Exactly. Anyone even suspected of aberrationist tendencies, off they go to the K-Light mines.
We'll suspend all activities for the time being. Be careful. ARL Camp 21 out.
Now we know where those carloads of people are going. To the K-Light mines.
That's criminal. It's cruel punishment. It's completely useless. I wonder just how automatic those robots are.
You think the administrators, like our friend Ropenar, might have more control than they let on?
It's possible. Trouble is, Mono and his friends can't find that out. Only administrators can get near the robot master control.
Our periscope could show us that master control. Or would that be interference?
Maybe it is. But when robots can send hundreds of innocent people into slavery, I say it's time to interfere.
So do I.
I'll get that map of the city Mono drew for me. Then we'll use the periscope and find out how that robot system operates.
I've got it, sir. There's the Central Administration Building.
Okay, Hap, now we'll scan it floor by floor with the periscope till we find the Master Robot Control Section.
Whatever information we find out, we can pass on to Mono.
Well, the lower floor seems to be a headquarters for the robot patrols. Uh-oh. Here's something interesting. There's a shaft right down the center of the building.
Elevator shaft?
It looks like it. I don't see any elevator. Wait. Something's happening at the bottom. A robot just entered the shaft at the ground floor level. There's a hall leading to it from the street.
Private entrance for Zards, huh?
Apparently. Yeah. The robot is rising straight up the shaft. Look.
Wow.
8, 10, 15, probably 20 stories up. Now it's stopped in midair. It touched the control on its belt.
Gravity belt.
That's it, Hank. Now it's reaching out and pulling itself toward a platform at the side of the shaft. And opening a door.
A robot with a gravity belt. But not even Ropenar had one of those.
Evidently just the robot's had one. Now the robot's walking down the corridor. It's opening a door. Pat, look.
Handing something to somebody. Hey, that's Ropenar.
Look, receiving a message from the robot. And by the looks of that room, that's Ropenar's living quarters. Right there in the administration building.
Now the robot's leaving.
Pat, if we had one of those belts, we'd get into the administration center.
And then we could save those people from the K-Light mines.
Yes.
Then they go back to Gobonic?
Right. Got those Gobonic work clothes in the ship. Ropenar's robot control unit.
How do we get the gravity belts?
We can find a robot outside the city walls. We'll inactivate him with the control unit. It'll be dark in the city in about an hour. We'll set the ship down a mile or so from the walls.
On one of the top floors of the administration building in Gobonic City, Administrator Ropenar, in charge of Class H functions of patrol robots, has been summoned to the office of Daruga, Chief Administrator of Gobonic.
You realize, of course, that you were the first human being from Gobonic to make a space flight in 300 years. You are now an unknown variable where our computers are concerned. Unknown variables are dangerous to our robot-controlled economy.
I don't understand, Daruga. The space flight hasn't changed me. As I explained, I was forced into the ship by these visitors from another solar system.
You, Ropenar, may have been contaminated by your brief exposure to these two strangers from outer space.
Oh, no. They will not trouble us again. It is all forgotten.
The computers will not forget. I had to feed false data into the master computer to arrange this shipment of workers to the K-Light mines. Some sections are now short-handed. That means longer hours, a general speed-up and lower efficiency.
Yes, but there will be no more anti-robot talk among the workers. They're thoroughly frightened.
Fright, Ropenar, is a factor that cannot be measured by the computers. Our robot controls can maintain proper balance only if the human population can be kept calm and placid. Fear and hope of change, these must be kept to the minimum at all times.
Yes, I understand. And I will keep my robot patrols alert for any sign of aberration.
Very well. You may go, Administrator Ropenar.
Thank you, Chief Daruga.
Special Directive 47 to Class G robots. Administrator Ropenar, in charge of Class H functions of robots, is now under surveillance until further notice. Record and report aberrationist behavior. Daruga.
With rockets cut out, the Terra 5 descends to the ground by repel array a mile from the city. Under cover of darkness, Buzz and Happy make their way to the high walls. The plain, drab coveralls of the Gobonic workers cover their space patrol uniforms. At the gate stands a single robot guard.
There's just one of them. He's got a gravity belt.
Maybe we can get another one inside.
I think he sees us now. And then we'll mobilize him with the control unit.
The robot's frozen, sir.
I'll handle this job alone here. I'll take the robot's gravity belt and enter the city. You stand watching the ship.
Yes, Commander.
There's no trick to moving the robot's gravity. It's a simple button. It fits me. I'll turn this knob so it lifts me to the top of the wall.
Sure wish I were going with you, sir.
I'll keep a miniature space phone on hand. I'll keep you informed if I have a chance. Here goes.
Hey, it works. Return to the ship, Happy?
Yes, sir. Good luck, Commander.
From the top of the wall, Commander Corey looks down inside the city.
Seeing no one near, he lowers himself to the ground with a gravity belt. With casual gait, but on the alert, Buzz walks through the streets to the administration building, avoiding the curious inspection of robot patrols by pressing a switch on his robot control unit. A walk down a deserted corridor brings him to a tall shaft extending up to the top floor of the building.
Vandercourt, if that happens, can you lead me?
Yes, sir. Everything okay?
So far, at the bottom of the robot shaft. If I can get up the rope now, room without being seen. Here goes. This gravity belt's a great thing. I'll try to pick one up for you on the way back to the ship.
Fine, Commander.
I'm on the landing ledge. Don't try to contact me, Hap. Someone might hear the spaceophone. I'm entering the corridor now.
Get your hands up, Rupnar.
What do you mean by... Hurry!
Don't try to reach for your robot control. I'd better remove it from your belt. I don't want to use this ray gun on you, so behave yourself.
You've got to get out of here. If you're found in my room,
You'll be sent to the K-Light mine, perhaps. With the other 500 prisoners.
What did you know about that?
You answer my questions first, Rupnar. Do you administrators rule the robots, or do the robots rule you?
I don't understand what you mean.
Just this. Computers juggled a lot of work quotas and picked 500 human slaves to go to the K-Light mine. K-Light is useless. If those people work in the mines very long, they'll get sick. For many of them, it'll be fatal. Isn't that right?
Yes, I suppose so.
All right. Was that K-Light deal automatic, or did somebody prime the computers? I want an answer, Rupnar.
The computers may have been adjusted a little.
And they could also be adjusted to bring those people back.
That's impossible.
I think you can find a way to work it out. Even if you burn out a couple of fuses in the computers, it's better than forcing 500 people to mine poisonous K-Light.
The computers cannot be changed, I tell you.
Now, look, Rupnar. I can do a lot of mischief to your patrol robots. Your push-button police. I can make you look pretty foolish. I can do all this without hurting a single human being, not even an administrator.
You wouldn't wreck my robot.
Unless you bring those people back from the mines, you will be in the junk business. How about it?
I think it can be arranged. If you give me time to talk to the chief administrator. Of course, he must never know.
But he does know.
Daruga.
Both of you stand perfectly still. This weapon in my hand can destroy you both. A move from either of you, and I shall use it.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. Say, here comes Tony Sides. Well, I'll be. He's growing a mustache.
Who? Me, Captain Two-Fell? What do you mean?
Oh, you sure have. It's brown and quite a long one, too.
Ah, gee whiz. That's no mustache. That's some Nestle's cocoa. You see, I had a cut just a few minutes ago. And, well, I guess I was in such a hurry to drink it, I got some on my upper lip. I'll just lick it off. Gee, that's good.
Yes, that's what everybody says, Tony. You know, Nestle's Eveready makes the best cocoa in the universe. It's so rich, so chocolatey, and so smooth.
You know, since we got the Space Patrol habit at our house, all my brothers and sisters drink Nestle's cocoa for breakfast. We love the way it tastes, and boy, we sure love the pep it gives us. Starting the day with a hot drink is real smart, especially when that drink is Nestle's cocoa.
You said it. And Nestle's Eveready is so easy to fix, it practically makes itself. You just put 1, 2, 3 teaspoons in your cup and add hot water, and that's all there is to it. Milk and sugar are already in Nestle, so you don't have to add a thing. Gang, how about you? If you haven't tried the Space Patrol way to start the day, don't wait anymore. Chow up for delicious Nestle's cocoa. Ask your mom to get Nestle's in the bright red can. And now back to our Space Patrol adventure, The Frightened Robots. Buzz and Happy are determined to save several hundred inhabitants of the planet Gobonic who've been forced to mine the poisonous mineral K-Light. While Happy remains in the Terra 5, Buzz undertakes a daring one-man expedition into the city. With the aid of a gravity belt taken from a patrol robot, Buzz rises to the 20th level of the administration building where he encounters Roknar, an official of the robot-ruled government. Just as Buzz obtains a promise from the unwilling Roknar, the chief administrator, Daruga, suddenly appears and holds Buzz at bay with a powerful weapon.
Drop your weapon. Go on, drop it.
All right.
No, Roknar, don't touch it.
But, Daruga, I was only going to hand it to you.
Indeed. Here I find you in a cozy conference with a worker. A worker who has somehow been smuggled up above the third floor.
But he's not a worker. He's Commander Corey, one of the visitors from another solar system.
So much the worse for you, Roknar. I was right. You have been contaminated by this stranger. I heard you plotting against the robots.
No, Daruga. He forced his way in here. He threatened to destroy the patrol robots unless I agree to bring those workers back from the K-Light mine.
He's telling the truth, Daruga.
Your presence here introduces new factors. Variables with which our computers may be unable to cope.
Then you administrators will have to do some thinking yourselves for a change.
Not if I eliminate the disturbing factor. If I destroy you, now, right here, the robots need never be disturbed with new information.
That's it, Daruga. Get rid of Corey and everything will be just as it was before he... Corey, let go of me!
Hold still, Roknar. Let go of him, Corey. You can't escape. There are Z-type robots out in the corridor.
How about this window behind me?
Beyond it is a straight drop, 20 levels above the street. You see, you are trapped.
Come on, Roknar. You're going through that window.
No, we'll be killed.
Corey, stop or I'll fire.
If you shoot, you destroy Roknar, one of your own administrators.
Corey, have you lost your mind? Keep away from that window.
You're going through it if I have to carry you. So long, Daruga.
Corey,
stop struggling, Roknar. I hate to drop you. This gravity belt should support both of us.
We're not falling. We're rising into the air.
Hang on, you'll be all right. Commander Corey to Cadet Happy.
Happy here, sir.
I'll blast off immediately. Take me up directly over the administration building. If this gravity belt holds up, I'll keep rising.
Yes, sir.
I've got Roknar with me. They might send some robots up after us, so hurry.
Quickly blasting off, Cadet Happy circles back over the city. A tiny dot on the viewscope shows him that he's picked up Buzz and Roknar ascending vertically over the administration building. Cutting the ship's velocity, Happy heads toward the commander, pressing a button on the rocket cockpit panel to open the outer hatch.
Did you come closer, Happy?
Yes, sir.
This gravity belt doesn't give any horizontal motion, Hap, just up and down. You'll have to maneuver the ship so I can reach the open hatch.
Yes, sir. When I get close enough, I'll cut my forward speed with a blast from the nose rocket.
Right, Hap. Got to make it on the first pass. Roknar's boss, Daruga, is sending up some robots with gravity belts.
Okay, Commander. Get set.
I'll get this one done. I'll hold on to you, and you concentrate on pulling us into the ship. Yes, Commander.
This is it, Commander.
Now, Roknar. Now. I got it! We're in the airlock, Happy. Kick on the tail rockets. We're losing altitude.
Okay, sir.
All right, Roknar, move up forward.
Yes, Commander.
Nice bit of maneuvering, Happy.
Thank you, sir.
I got the sedan.
All right, Roknar. Watch him, Hap. I'll take over the controls.
Hovering in the air over the city. We might have been killed.
Yeah? At least it would have been quick. Not like working in the K-Light mines.
Well, that reminds me, Happy. I've got to contact Mono. Commander Corey aboard Terra 5, calling ARL Camp number 21. Corey to ARL Camp 21.
ARL Camp 21. Mono here. Go ahead, Commander.
Mono, this is about those men that were sent to the K-Light mines. If they escaped, if they survived, could your camp take care of all 500?
For a time, so we could distribute them around to the other camps. At least they'd be no worse off at the mines.
And spread the word around. You're going to have company.
But, Commander, mines are guarded by robots.
I've got 2 robot control units now, plus a technical advisor, Roknar.
You've captured Roknar again?
Yes, he's here in the ship. If Happy and I deactivate those robot guards, can you lead those 500 men to safety?
If you can hold the robots up until the men reach the forest north of the mines, we'd have a chance.
Good. I'll pick you up at the camp, and then we'll head for the K-Light mines. Corey out.
An hour later, Buzz and Happy have picked up Mono, and now, with the anti-robot leader pointing the way, Buzz heads the Terra 5 toward the K-Light mines.
Mines are in that range of mountains just ahead, Commander.
Just let the ship down far enough away to avoid alerting the robots. Then you and I'll approach the mines on foot.
Can I go with you, Commander?
You better stay with the ship, Happy. Keep Roknar locked up back aft. If Mono and I run into any problems, we'll contact you by miniature spacephone.
Yes, sir.
Happy, get Mono a blaster while I set the ship down.
Yes, sir.
Leaving Happy in the ship, Buzz and Mono strike out over the ridge for the mines. As Buzz and Mono descend the slope, a breeze charged with an acrid dust blows toward them from the mines.
There's one of the outer guard, Commander.
A robot. It sees us. Just keep walking toward it. Till we're in range to work the control unit.
We've got to deactivate the robot before it deactivates us.
But how many robots are here at the mine?
I think about 25. At least half of them are down in the shaft with the miners.
The robot's suspicious. It's coming toward us.
I think we're in range now.
Okay, stop. I'll use the control unit. It's still coming. I'll give it another charge. My control unit isn't working. Use yours.
Yes, Commander. Mine doesn't work either. Commander, the robot's reaching for his immobilizer ray.
This blaster's likely to arouse the whole camp, but I've got to use it.
You got it.
Back up the hill quick, before the other robots come to investigate. Duck behind the thicket, Mono. Let's see if we're being followed.
There are 2 robots heading this way.
Yes, but not moving very fast. It's curious, I guess.
I wonder why our control units didn't work.
Got an idea about that. Contact Happy. Commander Corey to Cadet Happy.
Happy here, sir.
We had to use a blaster on the robot guard hat. The Ruger must have changed the response frequencies on the robots. Our control units don't work.
What are we going to do? Pick off the robots one by one with blasters?
Well, we can't risk it. The robots might turn on the workers. Now, listen. Get Rook now and bring him here. Maybe he can give these robots direct orders.
Can we trust him?
You'll have to. Mono and I'll be waiting just over the top of the ridge.
All right, Rook, now you can come out now. The commander's got a job for you.
A job? What do you mean?
The commander will explain. Come on, we're going for a walk. Into the airlock, Rookner.
Where are you taking me?
We need an expert on robots, and you're elected. Go on, into the lock.
Of course, Cadet. Anything to oblige. Hey! This is the jet I've been waiting for! There. I'd finish you right now. If I were sure I'd escape from Corey. But this will hold you for a while.
What's taking Happy so long? I'll contact him again. Commander Corey to Cadet Happy. Happy, can you read me?
Happy here, sir.
Hap, where are you?
In the ship. Commander, I pulled a boner. Rognar got away. He pulled a sneak punch and knocked me cold. I just came to. I'm awfully sorry, sir.
Hap, listen. Stay on guard in the ship. Moto and I are going to try to get into the mines and lead the workers out. For some reason, most of the robots are leaving the area.
Maybe Rognar got a warning through. No, he hasn't had time to get there. And he doesn't have a control unit. Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
I just picked up something in the viewscope screen. A spaceship.
Spaceship?
Yes, sir. It's one of those robot cargo jobs. And it's headed this way.
Mono, could it be coming to the mines?
That's unheard of. Spaceships are used only to take cargoes to the other planet, Warmark. They never land anywhere on Gabonik except the city spaceport.
Well, this one is sure barreling in, sir. If it keeps its present trajectory, it'll land right in a mining area. Maybe some big-shot administrators are aboard.
Human beings never ride in spaceships. Not here on Gabonik, I mean.
Robots are leaving just as that ship is coming in. Hap, how far away is that ship?
Oh, at its present velocity, it should land in about 5 minutes.
Hey, looks like it's set to crash. It'll probably explode and destroy every living person in this area.
Smoking rockets.
Stand by to blast off, Hap. Moto and I are returning to the ship.
Racing over the rough ground, Buzz and Mona reach the Terra 5. The incoming robot ship is now plainly visible to the naked eye as the commander rushes to the controls.
Stand by for blast off. Close ports. Fire jet.
Fire jet.
Up ship and away. You're right, Commander. That robot ship isn't leveling off. It's headed straight for the mining area.
How are you going to stop it? Those people will be killed.
There's just one chance. Destroy it before it gets any closer. Hap, stand by to fire both atom cannons.
Standing by, sir.
When you're on target, fire.
Ship will hit in 15 seconds, sir, unless we blast it first.
I'm on target. Fire.
I hope that shot's good.
You've got it.
Robot ship. Slow down.
The pressure must have been terrific back in the mine. Let's hope it didn't do any damage. We'll circle back and inspect.
Frightening thing. That ship had struck the ground. All those people.
Then Deruga or some other top administrator must have given the robots a signal to leave the mines. He wanted his valuable robots out of danger.
The administrators say that the master robots are beyond human control.
Yes, that's true.
If Deruga pulled that ship out of a course it's followed for centuries, it must have changed the master control.
Yes. To destroy 500 helpless innocent people. It hadn't been for you, Commander.
Mono, your enemies have given you proof that the robots can be changed. They can be redirected to help humanity, not to enslave it and destroy it.
Hey, look at those people down there, looking up and waving.
They're waiting for you, Mono. Waiting for you to lead them to freedom.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment.
Commander Corey calling all space jockeys. Calling all space jockeys. Accelerate jets. Full speed ahead if you want to get in under the wire, because today is absolutely the last time we will ever be able to offer you a sensational rocket cockpit for your very own. A gang, don't miss out. The rocket cockpit is so much fun, all equipped with moving viewscope, operating speed controls, our secret star drive, master dials that give you the official Space Patrol code, and atomic cannons that really fire. Now, this rocket cockpit is a real model of the one I fly, so you know it's scientific and complete. Now, here's how you get yours. Send your name and address and 25 cents along with 2 wrappers from any Nestle's chocolate bars to Nestle, Box 54, St. Louis, Missouri. That's Nestle, Box 54, St. Louis, Missouri. And do it right now, because this offer will never be made again. And I want all of you to have the thrill of flying with your own rocket cockpit.
And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz is descending the face of a cliff on the planet Gobonic to rescue his friend Mono on a ledge below. In their spaceship on top of the cliff, Happy contacts the commander by spaceophone.
How you doing, Commander?
I've got to go down another 100 feet, Happy. If I can get to Mono before that robot does. Mono. Mono, answer me.
What happened, Commander?
Mono collapsed down there on the ledge. The lead robot got him with an immobilizer ray.
Smoking rockets. Can you reach him before the robot?
If I do, I'll be in range of the immobilizer.
I know. Use your blaster on the robot.
From this height, I might hit Mono. And there are 5 more robots closing in.
Be with us again next week for the thrilling Space Patrol story, A Planet in Peril. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston. Produced and directed by Larry Robertson. Executive producer Helen Moser. Other players were Ken Mayer, Norman Jelly, Bela Kovac, and Tony Sides. Dick Tufeld speaking. This week's Space Patrol was brought to you by Nestle's Eveready, the instant cocoa, Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk, and famous Nestle's chocolate bars. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas to the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood.
This is ABC Radio Network.